के ऊपर जाएंगे आगे जाके, लेकिन फर्स्ट I'll just give you a brief about India chart strike, and also hold on because you are going to get an amazing exclusive offer for all the people who are there in this webinar, only for you guys. So I'll be pitching the offer in a few couple of minutes. So first, let's begin, and make sure first you have your pen and paper and you write down all your questions, because at the end we'll be having a Q&A as well. So make sure that you have your questions with you. Okay, now starting with what exactly is India charts. काफी लोगों को ये सवाल होगा कि इंडिया चार्ट्स क्या है, स्ट्राइक क्या है, तो एक छोटा सा जिस दे देती हूँ मैं इसके बारे में. सो इंडिया चार्ट्स एक्चुअली स्टार्टेड वे बैक इन 2001, जो कि सिर्फ एक वीकली मार्केट अपडेट के जैसे शुरू हुआ था, लेकिन ओवर द टाइम 2001 से लेके 2026 तक अगर हम बात करें, ओवर द टाइम उसने एक फुल फ्लेजेड प्लेटफॉर्म शुरू हो गया है वो, विद ऑल डेली एंड मंथली इनसाइट्स अक्रॉस नॉट जस्ट स्टॉक्स but commodities, currencies, stocks, and everything else that you can see. With some of the content that is now freely available on the blog as well. तो blog अभी भी है जहाँ पे content freely available है. A lot of deeper insights are now a part of India Charts Insider Club, जहाँ पे insights share होते हैं about different stocks, as well as there are a few reports. अगर आपने उसके बारे में पढ़ा होगा, the long short report is one of the famous reports as well. So all of that you get under the India Charts Insider Club. At its core, the platform is all about helping people to understand the markets more easily, combining with the technical analysis as well, and with the economic and business data to give a more complete picture about what exactly is taking place in the markets. Now, अगर आप कहेंगे कि technical कैसे, तो there is our platform, that is Strike, which is basically an all-in-one stock market analysis platform built for traders and investors. Now, why do I say investors as well? Because we don't not only pitch to you the technical tools, but we also have the fundamentals tools like valuation setups and a lot more things. So if you still haven't signed up, this is the time to sign up. So the basic idea behind Strike is pretty simple. Powerful technology that shouldn't feel complicated to you. If you are trying to place a trade, it should come easy to you. The analysis, that is, everything should be available under one platform, and that is what we are doing here. Now, the goal is to give users the right tools and insights they can confidently take control of their financial journey. So यहाँ पे easy हो जाता है आपके लिए, all under one roof हो जाता है. Fundamentals भी है, यहाँ पे technicals भी है, तो आप एक टेक्नो फंडा एनालिसिस के साथ आगे बढ़ सकते हैं. Now moving on towards who exactly is going to deliver this webinar. Of course, सर के लिए इंट्रोडक्शन देने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है, बट अगर किसी को नहीं पता होगा तो जस्ट एक छोटे से शब्दों में I'll just do that. So Rohit Srivastava is a market veteran with over 30 years of experience. He is the founder of India Charts as well as the Strike platform. Over this decades, he has seen it all. Market bubbles कहिए आप, crashes, scams, rallies, you name it. And that kind of experience brings completely different perspective to trading and investing, that we all have to agree. His one of the finest contributions is the Rohit Momentum Indicator. So yes, he will be also talking about that a few moments later. Now, markets are always moving. The cycles are and phases, panics, crashes, सब कुछ होता रहता है. And over the last 3 decades, Rohit sir has learned how to read these cycles and anticipate whether the market where exactly would it head next. So that also he'll be decoding it for you in a couple of minutes. Now, moving on towards an interesting offer. Hopefully everyone is all ears over here. I'll be sharing my screen in a minute. This is an exclusive offer for all the people who have joined over here. And this offer, you not only get Strike, you also get India Charts. If you have a look at this is a combined offer of both analytics plus research plus data, wherein you get 6 months of Strike plus 6 months of India Charts only for 9,999. And if you go for a much better offer, that is 1 year Strike and 1 year India Charts, that is for 19,999. And this is exclusively for all of you all present in this webinar. If you want, you can just scan the QR code, or else I'll be just I'll do one thing. I'll put up one message in our chat box as well that has the link towards the payment. So if you all want to maybe go through that, then you can do that as well. सो यहाँ पे दोनों ऑप्शंस है, आप क्यूआर कोड भी स्कैन कर सकते हैं, या फिर आप यहाँ पे मैंने एक लिंक डाली हुई है उसके ऊपर भी क्लिक करके आगे जा सकते हैं. नाउ मेनी ऑफ यू माइट हैव क्वेश्चंस, व्हाट डू एग्जैक्टली वी हैव इन दिस ऑफर, व्हाट विल दिस बी ऑफर ब्रिंगिंग टू यू. Then you can just do one thing, whatever questions you have, you can just put your phone number and your name in the chat box and send it to me. I'll be answering all the questions, or else if यहाँ पे मैं answer नहीं कर पाती हूँ, so we'll make sure that the support team is going to contact you. Now many of you might be having a strike ka membership, or else you might be having India Charts membership and you want the other platform, then also you can just share your name and number, and we'll be making sure that you have both and you can excel in both the worlds as well. So I'll just be keeping it over here for a minute and then we can move on towards with the session. Any questions are welcome. Just put it in the chat box, put it to me so that I'll be answering them individually as well. Okay, so आगे बढ़ते हैं यहाँ पे. I'll just stop my screen share right now and then we'll move on towards sir. And I know everyone is very much eager to attend this session, ask your own questions. So I think let's begin. यहाँ पे RMI and sentiment analysis के साथ शुरुआत करते हैं for uh, I think let's be okay. I can see a lot of questions have already started to come in about the offer. I'll just keep on answering. Just give me a minute, guys, and then we'll go ahead. So, very good morning, sir. And I think people are more interested to know and for you to deliver the session. So, if we can begin. Sir, I think you are not audible yet. Just a second. No, sir, not yet audible.
Hello.
Yes, yes, perfectly fine, sir. Now we can hear you.
Yeah, for some reason it didn't pick up. It just disconnected, reconnected. Okay. Fair enough. So yeah, good morning to everyone. Sorry for the little technical glitch, but good to have everyone on a Sunday morning. It's the best time to have your concentration over a weekend. So even when we do our mentorship programs, we start off at 9 a.m. or 9:30 a.m. Now I used to start at 9. Now they've pushed it to 9:30. People want to wake up, but the sessions go on till 12:30, 11. So they're typically 2 to 3 hours. Actually, almost always 3 hours. So and it's when markets are closed and when you think, then you actually are able to take a far more unbiased view of things, which is also a reason why I write my weekly update, on a Sunday afternoon when everything is shut down and you're only looking at the data. You're not looking at anything else. So that's the approach that I've always had. And of course, today's session delves into two important indicators that I have used over time. One of them for more than 30 years, and of course, in its final format, more than maybe 26 years, which is from 1919 till today, is how long I've been using the RMI or the Rohit Momentum Indicator. So the first thing we'll do is we will delve into that because it's an important cornerstone, not just for the option trading aspect, but also for people who are buying and selling in markets, whether you're short term, intraday, medium term, long term. It allows you to find ideas and find those ideas which are trending, so that becomes a very important point. And then we try to time that and use it in our execution. So RMI is an execution tool, it's a timing tool, but we improve our timing with the use of sentiment indicators, and that is where swing comes in. Now there are many sentiment indicators on strike, but swing is a short-term sentiment indicator which particularly helps me in timing the Nifty options trades, and that is why we'll be talking about that particular model today. Okay, so but before we go there, we have to understand what the RMI is, what the swing is, and how they work, and that is why I will start off with that. Okay, so and that's the reasoning, right? That we try to look at analysis and do, data analysis, when markets are closed, like end of day, end of week. Those are good times to have a very, very unbiased view. During live markets, it should be more about execution. Now, how does Strike help you in execution? When we actually have the RMI running live, and I'll show that to you when we do the RMI scanner, then you are actually able to see where the signals might be coming well in advance and plan for your trades before the time is due. So it gives you enough time to think, plan, and execute. That's how you become more and more process oriented, because in the end, being right is not something you can always do. You can come up with a system that works 70% of the time, 65% of the time, doesn't work 35% of the time. But in the end, you have to execute that system. If you let emotions come in the way, you will most probably be trying to avoid the 35% and only do the 65%. But that is called a coin toss, because if you're trying to guess which trade of yours is going to be winning and which is going to be losing, you're actually overriding a system that can be successful 65 to 70% of the time. And spinning a coin, probability of spinning a coin is only 50%. So in probability maths, when you apply two probabilities, they end up multiplying with each other when you apply them one on top of the other. So if you have a system that works 65% of the time, and if you apply a probability, which means you're trying to guess which trades are right or wrong, spinning a coin, which is 50%, what you actually experience is 50% of 65%, which is only 35%. So which is why people who try to outguess analysts and try to figure out who's right and who's wrong, आज कोटक वाला अच्छा है उसको फॉलो करते हैं, कल शेर खान वाला अच्छा है उसको फॉलो करते हैं, तो your experience is usually 35% good and 70% bad, and basically you will believe that everybody is a bad analyst. So the only way to get a system right is, one, either have the ability to follow somebody else who's right, which is also tough because being wrong yourself is one thing, but if somebody else is wrong, he's a complete idiot. And so that takes us to the next part, which is learn to do it yourself. And that is why Strike Money as a platform exists. Strike Money is dedicated towards being able to do data analysis in very, very simple ways by simply clicking a few buttons here and there, because we've brought the best of our data onto the platform and made it easy for you to scan and click and find the results, so that you don't have to do the deep dive coding and waiting for scans to really come up. This should be instantly available moment you click a button. And that kind of ability is what we brought to the table. So once you get hooked to it, then there is no looking back. So that much we are certain of. Okay. The only thing we have to do is make sure that you learn to use the tools properly. And then once you learn to use them properly, you are ready to achieve a 70% result, except that how do you control your emotions of not trying to outguess your own system? So that is why it has to be process driven. And I'll be taking you through a process so that, whatever system you develop, whether it's a 65% good system or 70% good system, when you're process driven, you're only executing the end results and an outcome of your execution. Okay, so sounds good. And with that, let's understand what the RMI is. So I'm going to share my screen now from here on. If you're wondering, I was sharing my screen, I wasn't. And now I am. And that's the start of my presentation. This is what we're going to be talking about. Okay, so we start with the RMI. I'll not go into the details of all the things written here because I'll be talking about them. So we'd rather spend time talking rather than, make it a classroom like a textbook. The RMI indicator, and I know that a lot of people use technical indicators and would have seen uh, an indicator move up and down in cycles, something like this, like a sine wave. This is what it should look like. If it doesn't, then you need a better tool. But most momentum indicators will tend to look like this. Okay, and there will be a central line which you can see in the center, which is the black line, and that central black line is essentially what we call as the zero line in any momentum indicator. This is the zero line, the point around which prices move up and down, right? They're moving up and down around a zero line, and each time prices start and come back to zero, I call that one cycle. Okay. So when you read books on momentum, what you'll usually read is, oh, if momentum goes above zero, then it's a strong trend. That is what the textbooks say. Now, what I'm saying is slightly different. I'm saying a complete cycle in price is when you come back to zero. Okay. And then you start a new cycle, and then it comes back to zero and a new cycle. This is very important. The concept of the zero line is very important when we try to actually judge which are the good trades and which are the bad trades, which I'll come to. and therefore momentum cycles that perfectly return to zero every time prices, pause or consolidate is a very, very important part of indicator building. So there are many, like I said, many indicators. The most popular being or known, easy to learn, first time you come across is MACD. The next one you come across is ROC, which is a little more erratic, okay, but can be smoothed and used, but it's closest to momentum, which is what we are trying to study over here, which is momentum cycles. But what it requires is proper smoothing and detailing the use of the right time frames and putting it together so that it works. There's a third thing which I tried to do later by adding on additional indicators, which is to skew the indicator, which is not something I've put on strike yet because we thought people would get confused by slightly skewed RMIs, but meant to give a little faster signals. Already the biggest advantage of the RMI is that it gives signals faster than the MACD, almost by 2 to 3 days, sometimes more, but at least by 2 to 3 days, it gives faster signals. So that means when to buy something 3 days before any general technical indicator would tell you. So that's the first big advantage. The second one is the reduced noise because it's smoothed, double smoothed, so that it can actually move like a sine wave up and down and give clean signals. And the third is the use of the zero line, which is a very important concept, so that you can eliminate poor signals and stick with the good signals. Okay, so all of this comes from momentum theory. If anybody wants to read more about momentum theory, the only one book I recommend is Martin Pring on market momentum, written maybe almost 25, 30 years ago, but still remains very, very relevant. And since people don't write or read many books nowadays, those old classics are the ones that give the most detailed insights on how to use these tools. So they remain on my list. So now when we are looking at the RMI, like I said, same as all momentum indicators, but with key advantages: faster in speed, clean, and the use of the zero line. So three key advantages. The second is there are momentum indicators that move between 0 and 100, like RSI, Williams percentage, R stochastics. This is not like those. Okay, I do use some other indicators in my skewed formats, but the idea was to even then to plot something which is not in a 0 to 100 band. So the way I use the indicators is that they don't come into a range. They will move up and down. If I skew it, it will move further up and down to any number and then come back to the zero line. So therefore, this comes under what we call as non-range bound indicators. So most of the MACD, ROC are non-range bound indicators. RMI is a non-range bound indicator, whereas RSI and Williams and stochastics are range bound indicators. Most sentiment indicators also tend to be range bound because in sentiment, what we try to measure is that what percentage of people are bullish or bearish. So it's always a percentage, and therefore, in most cases, it is 0 to 100, unless you're taking a raw data point like positioning, where you're measuring how many contracts are long or short. So now back to RMI, there's a zero line. So this is your zero line, and there's an indicator which is moving up and down above the zero line. So as it moves up and down above the zero line, either it can be a smooth line like this one, just goes up and comes down. Okay. So if you see that it just goes, one second. If you see that it just goes up and down, okay, it can be smooth or it can have a few gyrations like this. Realistically, there will always be some gyrations, sometimes one, sometimes two, but sometimes you also get smooth cycles. Okay, so both types exist. And the next thing we do with any momentum indicator is we plot a moving average. Okay, typically a 9 EMA is there on most indicators, whether it's MACD, ROC, RSI, whatever. We plot a 9 EMA to get crossovers. And these crossovers essentially end up being buy signals or sell signals. So when the green is the main indicator, blue in this case is the 9-day exponential moving average of the green indicator. And when the green indicator goes above its moving average, we call that a buy signal. Okay, so you can get multiple buy signals. And similarly, when the green indicator goes below the blue indicator, we end up getting a sell signal. So we can get multiple buy and sell signals along the way. Okay, but which are the important buy and sell signals over here? This is the next important question. Which are the important ones? The important ones are those which come after the cycles are complete or when a new cycle is starting. So what have we defined as a new cycle? A new cycle is one which starts from below the zero line and then it comes back. Okay, so this is a new cycle, it comes back. So the most important buy signal is the one that starts from the zero line. So that means somewhere here. Okay, it's not important whether this buy signal came from below or above zero. What's important is that the green indicator, the momentum indicator, came and it touched the zero line. So even if it touches zero and goes back up and you get a buy signal above zero, it's okay. That's a good signal. A good signal is always one which comes after completion of a cycle. And completion of a cycle means the green indicator must come back to zero before you look at the next buy signal. So this is a buy signal which comes after green came back to zero. This is a buy signal after green came back to zero. This is also a buy signal that came after green came back to zero. But here, is this buy signal after? No. This is well above zero, right? Here the indicator didn't come back to zero and then come up and give a buy. It just went sell buy in between. Same thing happened here. So these are indicators on which we don't buy. Why we don't buy? Because yes, prices may still be going up after that. They may be extending, but the risk reward of buying is down here. This is when the risk is the least and the reward is the entire cycle, which could be a 5%, 10%, 15% move depending on the time period you're looking at. 5, 10, 15 is typically a daily time frame. If you're looking at a monthly kind of time frame, the return will be 100%, 200% depending on the speed of the stock. Okay. So choice of time frame is of course an affair based on what time period you want to trade, but just understand the indicator first, then we'll look at how to use multiple time frames to trade. But using the indicator requires that you look for the best signals. So if you're bullish on the market and you're looking for buy signals, you're looking for buy signals that come after the green line has touched zero and turned up again. Okay, even if that signal comes from above the zero line, that's fine, but the green should have touched zero before giving a buy. So therefore, there were three buy signals on this chart which are significant. These were not. So what do we do with these signals? The answer is nothing. We don't do anything. But then there's an opposite side to it. You'll say they also sell signals. Do we get out? So in this case, it looked logical that if I got out here, I mean, after buying here, I got out here, great. The cycle went down and then I bought again. Sounds simple, very straightforward. But in real life, it doesn't always happen that way. You get something known as noise. So how do we deal with noise? So we try and now understand that aspect. Okay. So below you're looking at price. And now you'll understand that when RMI comes back to zero, it goes up and comes back down. Does that mean price goes up and comes back down? No. Okay. Remember, this is a momentum indicator. Momentum means speed. So if you're going from, Mumbai to Ahmedabad, and if you come across a signal and you stop there, does that mean that you've gone back to Mumbai? No, you just stopped there, right? So if this is a bull market and it's in a path of progress and it pauses over there, this is like your signal. It pauses there for some time. What happens? Your speed goes back to zero. The RMI goes back to zero, and then it starts a new cycle. So, what the RMI therefore is measuring is these back and forth movements that it moves up, pauses for a while, moves up again, pauses for a while, moves up again. And each of these cycles is being captured as one momentum cycle, one period where speed picked up, then it slowed down, then it paused, and then it picked up again. And that's what we are capturing. What we also don't want to do is that when you get this kind of an extended move, what you start getting is divergences. You get a sell signal here because speed really slowed down, but it's still in an uptrend. So it gave a buy signal again, you know. And then after that, momentum really fell because prices are going slightly sideways, but we are still making new highs. So here, when prices make a new high, you end up getting what we call as a negative divergence, where the new high in price is not confirmed by a new high in the momentum indicator. We've learned that this is a forewarning of a potential correction, but just that you get a sell after that doesn't always mean that it's going to go down. What is really required is a second price confirmation. And that second price confirmation comes from using of a trend line or a moving average. So which means that if I use a trend line or a moving average on the underlying price, okay, so let's say if I put something here like this, and when this breaks, so what we say is that you should use it in conjunction. So this trend line break along with this sell signal is the confirmation. Because if you get a trend line break, I mean, if you get one break and the other doesn't break, then it's not a signal. You can even use a moving average to do something similar. Like if you're looking at a case like this, sometimes you might find, okay, trend line is breaking. Also look at the moving average. The moving average may not have broken here, may not have broken here, but it finally breaks here. Okay, and when it breaks here and you have a sell signal, this becomes the relevant sell signal. So these are the relevant sell signals. These are the ones we are ignoring, and these buy signals also we are ignoring. And by doing so, what you have done is you have tried to maximize your gain from here to here rather than get out early over here and then feel bad that you missed out on this move. That's the whole point of using a combination. Again, this is classic Martin Pring where he says momentum should confirm with price. But for a lot of people, this second aspect is missing. We're just looking at indicators giving buy sell signals without putting in place a tool for confirmation. Okay. Mostly he talks about trend lines, but I've preferred to use sometimes moving averages because trend lines do sometimes break in certain cases. They are perfect like this when you get a proper channelized sequence. But in some cases, what ends up happening is that you do get an early break. If I draw this trend line from here to here, it may break over here. Now that may be okay. You still made a significant gain. You can follow that. But you did make a slightly higher high here before it actually broke down. So trend lines are fine, moving average is fine, but you need an additional confirmation to momentum if you really want to ride the trend to its maximum and make the most of the cycle, right? So that's what momentum trading and capturing entire momentum cycles is all about, because that's how you maximize gains and minimize risk. Okay, so you got the entire concept. Minimizing risk is starting early in the cycle. You start early in the cycle, make sure that you are buying when the risk to the downside is minimal, like only so much. If it goes down, you can't lose more than the recent low. And the upside is maximized by riding it properly. So that's the risk reward play that we are trying to do. The next thing is which side do we trade? See, here I've talked only about bullish and we are in a bull market, so it all makes sense. But in a bear market, you're going to get trades which are both on the buy side and on the sell side. So when you get both buy side and sell side trades, which ones should you take and when? The answer lies on the higher time frame. Okay, so what is a higher time frame? See, there are always cycles at different degrees of time. It could be monthly, quarterly, that's the long term period. So let's say this is the longer term period. Okay, and let's presume for the time being that this is your weekly chart. So on the weekly chart, when the RMI gives a buy signal, it's a full cycle, right? It goes all the way up and then it gives a sell signal over here. Okay, so this is your buy and this is your sell. But what about the daily chart? So when the weekly chart is bullish, okay, when it is given a buy signal, what do you want to do on the daily chart? The answer is you want to be bullish. Okay, so you want to, so when the higher time frame is bullish, the lower time frame, you only want to trade the bullish trades. You don't want to take the short trades. For the simple reason we saw it on the previous chart that when prices are rising, they rise, they pause. Then they rise, they pause. When it pauses like this, how much money can you make? The real money is made when it rises like this. Here you're just getting noise and you'll end up getting stopped out, and so don't really make much money trying to short this part of the market. So that is why what we say is when the larger trend is up, what you want to do is buy, exit. You want to buy and then exit. Okay, so that's the approach. So when you get the weekly buy signal, what do you want to do on the daily chart? You want to buy, 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 and exit only. If you're doing trades in and out, then you want to exit those signals and go short only when the larger trend is down. So when the larger trend is given a sell signal here, we are looking for the short signals based on the RMI when it gives a sell. Okay. So this is the kind of scan we do. We try to search for stocks which fit this kind of criteria where the lower time frame signals are aligned with a higher time frame. And that reduces my risk of going wrong. And therefore I'll pick many more winning trades and fewer losing trades because I'm not going against the larger trend. Okay, so you're trading the higher degree trend on the lower degree time frame, to put it very simply. And so you're executing your trades on a lower time frame, you're taking your view on a higher time frame. Okay, I've repeated in enough number of times now in different ways for you to understand. So there are various advantages of doing this, and one of them is now the next question that will come up. Okay, I want to do this daily, weekly thing, or I want to do it for the long term with a monthly, weekly combination. How do I do it? How do I find stocks that fit this criteria? See, one thing is doing an index, that's a single item, but you really want to find stocks that fit this criteria, and that is why you need a scanner. And so we built the RMI scanner. Recently, it's gone into having multi-time frames. So earlier you could have, we just had monthly, weekly, daily, hourly. Now you can actually set it up to have many more time frames. So what I've done is I've removed some of the, because I don't look at intraday, but if you're a day trader, you might want to do 5 and 15 minute also, 30 minute also. So you can include these on your screen. I've unchecked them right now, just to have fewer, fields on the screen. The next thing is you choose which one you want to trade. So if you're in an up down market, like a crashing market where you also want to place trade shorts, you might want to have a watch list of only FNO stocks. Okay. But if you're not doing that, you might want to have run it on a watch list of only, indices or only Nifty 50. Okay. So that's a choice that you are going to make and decide as to, which, sectors or which segments you want to really run the scan on. You can even have your own personal watch list. So if you go to the homepage, you can actually make your own watch lists in Strike and then choose that watch list over here. Here you see watch list. So there's some of my watch lists that are showing up here. And based on those watch lists, you can actually run a scan and see where you're getting buy sell signals across time frames. So let's do it and see. Let me choose the FNO basket where you can go both long and short. Okay, and of course here what you're getting is the FNO basket, but spot prices. I like to do all my analysis on spot. Even though if you're executing it in futures or options, the analysis has to be on spot, according to me. That's my thesis. And so when I'm running this, what am I looking for? Now, if I think we are in a bull market, I would be looking for stocks that are giving new buy signals on the monthly chart. So I could simply look at, okay, these are the stocks that are giving new buy signals on the monthly chart. But I might want to further confirm and confine that. Like I may say, okay, let's look at everything that is bullish on the monthly, which means including those which have given a buy signal previously. Okay. But are giving me a new entry now, which means a new buy signal on the weekly. Not necessarily you get something. Okay. So you see, I'm not getting anything right now, possibly because uh, everything's already bullish. There's no sell happened, or maybe it's not happening this week. Then I may say, okay, let's try to check on the same thing on the daily level. So what I'm doing here is I'm looking at stocks which are bullish on the monthly, and I can put this, this taken all bullish on the monthly, and a new buy signal on the daily chart. Okay, so now there's a different combination altogether. Two wide time frames, but I can have this combination, and I can click on the chart and immediately look at it. What is Adani Green doing? I can have a log scale if you want. By default, you see the Rohit trade setup, which is a combination of Bollinger Bands and averages plotted on this. If you don't want it, you can of course remove it. This is the trading view system. So if you know how to use trading view, you know how to use Strike's charting tools. The only thing we've added is we've added our own indicators. This is our own data sets that we have taken from NSE. That's what we are giving you. We are not giving you data from TradingView, basically giving you the TradingView uh, charting tool to be able to use from their library. Now, the Adani Green here is buy on monthly. You can see the RMI here, it's buy on monthly and giving a new signal to buy on the weekly. Now, what did we just learn about weekly signals, about daily signals? Which are the good signals? The one which come from below the zero line, like this one. Now, this one is coming at an elevated level, which means that this cycle is not complete. So this up move is part of this entire move only. We haven't even seen a correction or consolidation yet. Now, that doesn't mean it can't continue higher from here, but just knowing that this is part of the previous cycle, which started down here, that is extending. So you can't really put a stop loss down here. Now, if you're really trying to trade this, you'll have to have a much tighter stop. But knowing that you're in an advanced stage, because in an advanced stage, it can turn down anytime. So that is why I don't take that risk. So the one I like to take is when it is early stage, just starting off, where the risk reward is more favorable. So by clicking on these charts, daily, weekly, monthly, you can immediately look at all the charts and see which one is giving you a proper signal. Now, in this case, I did daily. Instead of this, I could do daily, weekly also. So if you're a positional trader, what you're looking for is something that will work over the next 1 month, okay, or so, plus or minus. So for that, the first thing you'll do is look for weekly setups. Where are you bullish on weekly, which means buy and new buy on weekly? And then where are you getting new signals on the daily chart? This combination is for positional traders who are looking for the next month or so, 3 weeks to 6 weeks, I would say. So daily, weekly is 3 weeks to 6 weeks. Weekly, monthly will become a year or two. monthly, quarterly will become still longer, and so on. And then if you're doing only for 3, 4, 5 days, then you will do the daily hourly combination. Okay, you can even have more complex combinations, depending on the market type. If the market has been falling for 6 months, then you do a monthly, monthly in sell and weekly turning into buy. You can even do that. Which stocks were in decline and are now giving a buy signal. So whatever combination, and you see how fast these scans are loading. It's not like अच्छा 200 stock का scan है, 10 seconds लगेगा. No, it'll actually start scanning for you and give you the result. No, we give you immediate outcomes, and that's why you will be able to think and execute much faster. Okay, so now you have two more coming in into this list from what we had, and now when you look at it, you see this one. I like this because now this signal is coming from below the zero line. After this has gone to zero, and now you're getting a buy signal here. Okay, and with the weekly giving a buy. So this weekly remaining in buy. So this is an interesting setup. Dual time frame. In fact, weekly has just given a new buy over here. So the weekly and daily both have given a new buy, and interesting to see whether that can play out. We may have, if not on a closing basis, but intraday we made a lower low here, so it looks like a positive divergence. But on a closing price basis, this closes higher, and therefore you don't have a classic divergence. I don't know if it's higher; it may be lower than this. Really need to judge, So yeah, but this is the lowest point of close. So yeah, it is not lower on a closing basis. Now the next one, Yes Bank is above zero line. This was above, and this was also above. So the only one which is coming from below is actually LTI. So be it. This is what we got today. And every day when we do these scans, we'll come up with a few. And remember, there's four stocks coming up from a basket of 250 plus or minus FNO stocks. And so you really reduced your work a lot by doing a scan like this. So now you understood the concept. We are using multi-time frame for a reason, that we want to trade the higher time frame on the lower time frame. Okay, and we know how to look for which are the good signals using the zero line. And we are looking at a smooth indicator that gives consistently, fewer signals than if it was more erratic. So really reduces your work, and you can do this ahead of time. I was mentioning that earlier. I'll tell you how. This runs in live market, which means that if what is daily? Basically, a daily new buy signal means if prices close where they are right now, then at 3:30, if prices close at this level, then you'll get a buy signal. That's what this means when we put it in live mode. If I put it in last mode, what it tells me is which stocks had these conditions fulfilled on yesterday's closing. Yesterday in this particular case means Thursday, because the market closed on Friday. So when I say yesterday, last close, it means on Thursday. So on Thursday, these were the new buy signals on daily versus weekly. So if I click on this, okay, uh, then we got a buy signal here. Again, it went into sell though, but we did get a buy signal here. But see now, what is the risk? This one came from above the zero line. Would we take it? No. Next day it's down. This is the risk usually. Now it's gone into sell, which means will it complete the cycle? If it completes, means it goes back to zero. And if it goes back to zero, prices may further correct or consolidate. Okay, so that's what we're trying to eliminate by using the cycle. But this is giving a new buy signal. Is this relevant? This is not. This is. Okay, so again, we can come up with a bunch of good and bad ideas. Suzlon giving a new buy signal from the zero line. So now you got a bunch of, but this is all on Thursday. So this happened on Thursday's closing. You could get up next day morning and buy it. But what happens is next day morning when you try to buy it, many times prices open higher. So even though Suzlon closed down the next day, in the morning it opened here higher and went even higher to 58. So instead of buying at 57, you would have bought at 58 something, almost a rupee or more higher, because of the momentum carrying forward from the previous day. But that doesn't necessarily mean that prices won't come down. Okay, but the indicator, but the buy signal remains. So what happens is many times, and so this is a back test that I did when I was, creating my own system that I ran in portfolio services for Sharekhan many years ago. When I did the backtesting, and it gave the same result that many have backtested on the Dow Jones as well, which is that overnight gaps, okay, constitute more than half the returns that you get from an index if you buy and hold, right? That's what the statistic shows running it on Dow. I ran my system on Nifty. Okay, this is a trading system that is giving buy and sell signals. So if I ran that system of buy and sell signals, the buy signal comes on the daily prices, which means daily closing prices. So that means if today's daily price is below something, it will give me a short. If it's above something, it will give me a long. Okay, but do I wait for it to give me a buy signal today evening by 3:30 and then I execute it next day in the morning? Ki, okay, now I got a buy signal, so let's go in the morning and buy. Does it work? So in the back test, what I do is I say, okay, if I buy at the morning's opening, and if I buy at the closing price of 3:30 on that day itself, what is the difference in returns? And like I said, the difference is more than 50%. That is what I found in my own trading system tested on the Nifty index, that you would lose half your returns by not buying today. Okay. Half your returns in CAGR terms. So if your CAGR on a 25 or 30-year data I had, so 30-year data CAGR was 47%, it drops to 24%. Just imagine the CAGR loss that you're making by not buying on the same day. So how do you buy on the same day? You work in live mode. In live mode means that at even 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you can know where the new buy signals are coming at 3:30. Of course, if prices change, the signals may go away. Okay. But at least you have cornered down to four stocks which you believe are relevant. You have checked their cycles, you have checked their higher time frame charts, and you've decided that out of these four, I like this one. Okay. And you've decided this at 2 or 2:30 itself. You have more than an hour to plan how much money to invest, what are the fund requirements, should I check its fundamentals, is the result coming or not in the next few days, will there be some result volatility or a dividend payment, etc., etc., whatever research you want to do, and then take action before the market closes. So at 3:15, if this buy signal is still around and still showing up on the screen, and you can see it here also in the crossover on the RMI, then you go ahead and buy it before the market closes rather than next day morning's opening, because the return difference, like I said, can be significant. Okay, so that's why I created a live mode that you can actually execute all your trades on the same day. So now we know how to use the RMI. What we now go to is the system of how I thought about using it for options trading in combination with sentiment indicators. Now here we have something known as sentiment and diffusion. There are two types of indicators in Strike, and even diffusion indicators act like sentiment indicators, except for different time periods. Like you have stocks above the 200-day average. That's best for long-term investors. No, so when we look at the monthly, when I look at the, sorry, you look at the daily of this on a, say, Nifty 500 basket, you find that it got extremely oversold at the recent bottom here in March. Very similar to how oversold it got here. And when it gets this oversold, you get significant up moves. Here it was one big rally, then pullback, and a further rally. Here also it got so oversold, you got one big rally, pullback. Again, it's oversold. You're looking at another rally. So can it be over here? Not necessary. In some, if you're in a bear market, yes, then it can go right back down and sell off. But in most cases, you see a recovery unless you go back into a bear market. And the kind of strength we are seeing in mid and small caps, I don't think you're going back into a bear market. So that is just my view of this reading. But this is a sentiment indicator for long-term investors. Again, it goes between 0 and 100. We've put these lines here, 20, 80, 10, 10, 20, and 80, 90 for the overbought, oversold regions. So similarly, on all the sentiment indicators, there are red dotted lines showing you where the overbought, oversold regions are. In some of them, like participant positioning, you get the FI index futures positioning, for example, and they are net short. Now they added shorts in the last 2 days, again back to 2 lakh contract short. And you can see where this short position stands on a historical basis. And what did it do to markets the last time you were this short? Did the market go up or did it go down? So very helpful to look at sentiment. Now, the sentiment indicator we're going to be using for options is called the swing. But there's also an average swing, which is a slightly smooth version of the same. Although it's not smoothing of the swing, it's simply running the same calculation on the average that we use, in the swing indicator. Basically, swing tries to measure the momentum of the underlying stocks basket of stocks, and tries to read that what percentage of these stocks are strongly moving up and what are strongly moving down. So when 80-90% of stocks start showing a positive trend on momentum, it in the short term it ends up topping out over there. Okay, and similarly, it ends up bottoming out over there. Now, the principle we use over here, because see, everybody knows, okay, I can say it tops out here, bottoms out here. You will say, yeah, but what if in a bull market, my market will keep rising, overbought readings will not work. The answer is yes and no. They do work, but it doesn't mean that the market falls a lot. It simply means that when you get an overbought reading in a strong uptrend like over here, this is a post-election rally, it goes sideways for a few days. you know it tried to move up, again went sideways. It went sideways till the swing came down, and then from there again it got oversold and the market rallied further. So you do get pauses, like here also, high reading, market went sideways for 5 6 7 days, and then it went up again. It doesn't have to be 5 6 days, it can sometimes be just 2 3 days. I usually account for 2 3 days. Sometimes it can be more or less, but 2 3 days is what you consider. So if you're in the direction of the trend, you'll only get consolidation from an overbought reading. But if you are trading the direction of the trend, which means every time if the larger trend is up, every time the swing is oversold, it's time to buy because the trend is up, right? Just like what we understood in the use of RMI on multi-time frame. If the weekly is bullish, then on the daily you want to buy. The only thing is, if I wait for the daily RMI to give me a buy signal, I'll be 3 days late. Okay. Now it's not late. Basically, it's a good signal when you're doing a positional trade. But here we are trading options. And options are a short-term trade, and you want to get the timing pretty accurately. And that is why we are moving to use sentiment, because sentiment can be even faster than momentum because it gets oversold or overbought. But because of the tendency of sentiment to fail in a trending market, or rather get oversold and then remain oversold even as the market is still falling, is why we want to filter it out with a higher time frame trend, which means we want to use it in conjunction with the trend reading. Swing is not a trend reading. It only tells you it's overbought, it's oversold, it can turn from here. But will it turn favorably or not is what the trend tells you. And what will you use for trend reading? You go back to RMI, but on a higher time frame. So now you see I've brought the same logic of higher and lower time frame. When we learned about weekly RMI, daily RMI. But here, when we are executing it in options where the timing has to be more accurate, we are doing weekly RMI, daily swing. Okay, so that is the combination we are using, which is weekly RMI and daily swing. So now over here, I can also plot the RMI on top of this to get an idea of what is happening. So if I go to weekly charts, what ends up happening is I end up getting multiple buy and sell zones. Okay, so when I say that I'm getting buy and sell zones, what I'm really getting is, like here, if it gave me a buy signal, okay, I come to know that it gave me a buy signal. And here I come to know that I got a sell signal. And so on and so forth. So based on the signal that I got, I'm able to decide what kind of action I want to take over there. So for example, when we got a sell signal all the way back here, I'm talking of September 2025. Okay, and it remained in sell signal all the way down till here. Somewhere here is where we, got the buy signal. Okay, so when we remained in sell from here to here, what would we do on the swing? The answer is the sell signal is on the weekly, remember. So that tells us that we should be trading short. But we will trade short in options, which is Nifty options, by buying Nifty puts whenever the swing reading comes above 80 and starts turning down. See, the swing reading can come to 80, it can come to 90. So what we wait for is that it turns down from overbought condition, like here. Okay. So moment it turns down from there is where we want to act and buy puts for that trade. When it happens here, when it happens here, when it happens here, here, everywhere we want to try and do that. So if we did that, even if it comes close to 80, like in this case, it just came till around 77 and turned down. This is the top we got on that. Here, when it actually crossed 80, which is more accurate, we got a top for a day or two. It fell for 2 days and then, or one day, and then went up again. Okay, so this was minor, but this one was more significant. It went to 85 and it turned down, and the market lost a couple of several hundred points from there, maybe even 1,000 points. I don't know what is the size, from 24 200 on a closing basis to 23 350, almost 900 points. So that significant move that you get. Now, when I say the swing has to turn down, I would also say, like what we say in price and momentum, price should also turn down. So swing turning down, if prices are still going up, it might be a divergence, but it might not be a reversal yet. So you actually want to see prices also close negative from after when the swing is, become overbought. That is the first sign that prices are turning, and then you take action. Now, should you take action on a closing basis when prices actually close down? Or you can also, if you really want to fine tune and if you think it's up, it's into you, you can go to the hourly RMI and look for a sell signal. So before a market actually closes negative, it's possible that the hourly RMI also gives a sell signal. So you might get an early entry if you do that. But otherwise, it's fine to wait for the daily negative close to happen. So you got a couple of sell signals. You got one here, it dropped only for a day or two. And then you got one here where you got a more significant decline. It caught most of these counter trend bounces. You see this reading near 80. After that, you see another reading here at this top. And then you got another reading near this top. Okay. And then a divergence. And so another one close to here as a swing turned down. Subsequently, you got a buy signal here, and then after that, you start doing the opposite. You buy calls when the swing gets oversold. So here the swing fell all the way to 3. Now 3 is really low because it's below 20, it's below 10, it's single digits, but down to 3, which what it means is only 3% of stocks are showing positive momentum. 97% of stocks are showing negative momentum. That is what happened when the Liberation Day tariffs were applied on the world and on India. And when you got that kind of a reading 3, it meant it's time to buy because that's where then it reversed from and went straight up. Now, I know it sounds easier said than to do when the emotions are there. But I'll tell you that when you get such readings, even if you say, oh no, news is very bad, I don't want to buy. But the system is telling me buy, you will at least buy some. If you usually bought 1,000, you'll buy 300. That will set you up for being on the right side when it turns. So it helps you have that confidence that yes, this is a trade I can take. So you got a reading here, then you got a reading here. You may be surprised this reading which comes here at around 15% or so. No, less than that. 17, 15% actually. 15%, and then next day the swing went up to 17, but market still fell. It fell to the 20-day moving average. And then from there it turned up. So this oversold reading moment it reversed was giving you a sign that it's time to buy. You could have bought it on the hourly charts or you could have taken some position. So that's what I did that here. I said, okay, let's take some position. But why some and not a lot is because while it did fall to the 20-day average, which is a good support, the India-Pakistan war is going on. So again, just like this was news-based, this was also news-based and sentiment plays on your mind. So you end up doing a smaller trade. But at least the setup said you are supposed to take a trade and if you took it, there were gains to be made. This happened Israel, Iran again the first time, and so on. So there have been many such points. And so what people want to know, how did it work recently? And what is it telling you now, right? That's always the end answer. End goal is there, abhi bata do. Abhi kya karna hai? So remember, this is a system. This is not about catching every top and bottom. Okay. So I've just put a marker where the last sell signal happened. Okay, which is somewhere here. Buy signal, I'm sorry, not sell signal. And so throughout this, it was in sell mode. So that meant that every time you had a high reading like this one, you buy puts. What would have happened? This was the budget. On budget day, it fell because of STT. You could have made a good gain. And again, if you got out on the early RMI when you would have been out before the, trade deal was announced with India because then it just gapped up straight by over 1,000 points. So then, so yeah, you are supposed to be a little bit on your feet when it comes to options trading. When you get a return and the market turns, you get out. Okay, if you don't manage to do that, then you're stuck hoping that it will happen. Okay, so hoping does happen sometimes. I do sometimes stay on a trade thinking like, अरे STT पड़ा है, bounce है फिर गिरेगा, and then this happens. So that can leave you on the wrong side. The moral of the story is get in and get out. So yeah, there were multiple shots. Like here's another short signal happened at this top before it sold off. Here was another one, okay, which happened here. And then some of them will not work. Like this one happened, okay, but it happened right here. Market only went sideways for one day and then went up again. So you would have been forced to get out. And if you look at this signals here, it only led to a sideways movement for 2 3 days and then again higher. So yeah, it did work here. It worked, probably worked here in getting puts at this point of time, where then it actually fell. But now we are in buy mode and we are looking for buy signals. Okay, so where did we go into buy mode? Very important to get that crossover date. Yeah, it's around here only. I think that's what I thought. Somehow it didn't transition from weekly to daily. See, this is 5.41. Yeah, this is only correct. Okay, so from here. So from here, when it is in buy mode, I'm looking for oversold swing readings to buy. So where did we get those? We did get a couple of them. Some of them led to bounces, but they were so far been meager. So you got one buy signal here, like this oversold reading. Swing did turn up, prices turned up, but didn't go very far. Okay, so sort of we got out with not much made. And it's happened here also. We did bounce a bit, but because the other world markets were rising, IVs fell. There's been it's taken time, and so there's a time and IV loss actually in this particular trade. Now we are waiting for the next trade to show up, the next signal to show up. Maybe it does get oversold on Monday if it falls further and you get another signal, and maybe you don't. And if you don't, then you just wait for the next signal. That's the moral of the story, because it's not about capturing every top and bottom. You may capture some, like say for example, this was in sell mode. You got an oversold reading here. Would you buy it? Now I have other reasons to be bullish here, whether it's seasonality, wave counts, etc. So I can find other reasons to turn bullish or bearish at certain points in time. But if you're purely following this system, which is using the weekly RMI to take a directional bias and then executing based on the daily swing and hourly RMI, then you would only take some trades. You wouldn't take each and every trade. Okay, so you may miss certain tops and bottoms in the process, but you will capture most of the others, and many of them are profitable. So you'll find in a year enough number of trades that are worth taking, is the main point I'm trying to make. And you'll have to do your own exit, which is, in the next couple of days, whenever the RMI turns down or the swing, turns down, like here, for example, if you went long here, the RMI reached 80 plus, our overbought condition, and then turned down. The swing turned down. So moment it turned down, you could have gotten out over here, you know, on the same methodology, that overbought swing and turning down. Let's book some calls. We'll buy again on the after it dips. You could have done that. Okay. So when we have a view and we have a bias, of course, it doesn't work that way. But I'm just saying that if you follow this system 100%, you'll get first level of confidence in trading options, because number one, most of the trades work. There's an entry exit methodology. It uses multi-time frame, so it avoids counter trend bets completely, and gives you enough opportunities throughout the year that you can actually take. And it has to be executed on the Nifty 50. People often ask me after I do this, can we do it on Bank Nifty? Can we do it on stocks? The answer is no, because the swing indicator bottom here, see, we can have RMI on any stock or any security, but you can't have swing on everything. Why? Because swing is basically an indicator of a basket of stocks. So when you're taking a basket, say you're taking almost 250 stocks, sometimes 300, plus or minus. So when you take such a big basket of stocks, we're trying to find out what is the overall market doing, what is the breadth of the market doing. If a large part of the market is showing down or up, that's what we are trying to judge with swing. So it is a market indicator, because you have taken a basket of stocks. It is not a stock indicator, and that's why you cannot apply the swing logic to stocks. Okay, so this is a system meant for Nifty 50, but there are a couple of nuances related to options trading that you need to keep in mind. So I'm going to now bring up the nuances that come with options trading. Okay. So now this is the system we've learned. When weekly RMI is in sell, you have to say, buy. Yeah, you can either sell call options or you can buy call options based on what the RMI is doing. And similarly, you can do the opposite of that when you have a buy and a sell. Then you actually buy call options and sell. But see, I'm mostly talking about buying Nifty options. If you're a seller, uh, uh, using the RMI can filter out a lot of the bad trades. But it's just that you do the opposite. So if you buy calls, but you're a seller, then you have to sell puts. Okay. So if you're in the second condition, which is this weekly RMI is in buy mode, you want to buy call options, yes, because the market is bullish, or you want to sell put options, which is also a bullish trade. Selling put options is a bullish trade, but you want to sell put options. When you're a seller, you only want to do it based on view. If you do it randomly, then you will be forced to hedge by selling puts and selling calls simultaneously, which is a very risky game because it leads to naked positions and open trades with, you don't know what might happen tomorrow, and black swans. You're open to all the black swans on earth. And so that's why I don't really do futures or selling of options which make you naked. I prefer being an option buyer. The only thing I have to keep in mind, therefore, is an option buyer. See, the advantage for an option buyer is that if your view goes right, if your timing is right, which is why we are using RMI and all, along with swing to get the timing right, then you can get a 2x, 3x movement when the view plays out. And that's significant when it comes to Nifty profits that you can actually make. The second part which makes it favorable and makes it profitable is buying monthly options. So in some of the examples that I showed you, if you ended up buying weekly options, you would have lost a lot of money in the bad trades because see, if you buy something for 1 week and then 3 days it doesn't move and then you have to get out, because in one day it went up and then it turned sell again, or the swing just turned down, or the Nifty broke went into sell on the early RMI, right? That is what I mentioned, that you exit on the early RMI, or you exit if the swing gets overbought, or you can also exit if the 40-hour breaks. On any of these three things, when you do that, it's possible you don't make money on that trade. But if it's a weekly option, you'll lose time value. So what I suggest is always go for monthly options where you have more than 3 weeks of expiry left. 3 to 4 weeks, ideally. So when you have 4 weeks left, then the chances are very low that if prices just went sideways for 3 days, that you lose a significant part of your premium. In most cases, it's not possible. This week, we did see some of that happen because in a sideways market, IVs fell because IVs were elevated prior to that. But otherwise, it's not true. In most cases, it's not true. So therefore, having more time on your side means you'll have a lot of premium left to navigate, to exit and re-enter something else if you go wrong, and to minimize loss, which means that even if you're wrong and you get out, you may have lost only 10 or 15% of your premium. So therefore, weekly or monthly options make a lot more sense than having just a weekly option. And of course, the RMI is the filtration. So, and then there's one more part, because the next question that people ask is, sir, which strike do we buy? Okay. And so when the question comes up on which strike to buy or which strike to sell, then we use delta, because delta is the probability of a stock closing in the money. So usually when you're at the money, the delta is 0.5. So there's a 50-50% chance market can go up, market can go down. You're buying a strike at the money. But we all want to buy options cheap, right? So we want to buy it for a lesser price. Why pay 500 for something when you can pay 300 for it by going slightly out of the money? The only thing is you can't go too far out of the money, because then the probability of going in the money becomes low, and therefore probability of winning on that option is also reduced. Okay, and the loss can therefore be more if you are far out of the money. So what you want to do is you want to be at a delta when you're buying options, you are buying a call or buying a put, you want to use a delta which is greater than 0.37. So when you're at a delta which is greater than 0.37, means there's a 37% plus chance. See, you can't go to 80%, but you can, that we do with combination of RMI. So if you're one thing is that when you're at 0.37, you'll be buying a strike which is within probably three strikes of the at the money strike. So if at the money, say Nifty is 25,000, you'll go up to 25, 100, 200, or 300. You'll probably not be able to go much above 25, 300, because then the delta may fall below 0.37. Maybe you go to 400 if the time is longer. If you have 5 weeks, you might be able to go up even one more strike higher, but you might not be able to go beyond that. Okay, and that's fine. So the delta ensures that you will not go too far out of the money, and remain within the probability of it going in the money when you go right. But when you're an option seller, you're doing two things. You're selling an option against the RMI. So if the RMI is in buy, you're selling a put. Okay. And you're selling a put which is below your current market price. And you want to go several strikes below, where the chances are only not there to go to that strike. So you want a low delta. So the delta should be less than 0.25. We call that a quarter delta, but you can even go lower. You can go to 0.15, and that can give you good returns as an option seller. But of course, option selling earns you returns on margin, and therefore the returns are a percentage. And if you're doing hedging of those options and you do spreads and all that, your returns really don't exceed much more, maybe 1-2 percentage points above the bank rate after taxes. you know so it's a tough job to just get that extra bit of yield. You have to put in a lot of labor, and that is why it's not for everybody. It's only for sizable books that you go into option selling, where you're only looking for yield on your money, and not the speculation. Otherwise, option buyers are far better off because you can do 2 3x of your money every time you go right. When you go wrong, you'll lose 20% of your premium, provided you followed the rules, which is bought monthly options and with a correct strike price, not too far out. So then your losses also can be minimized and the wins can be significant. And that's why I am a believer of option buying. The only reason option buying is so talked against and SEBI writes notes and everybody losing money and sellers make more than buyers is simply because people who don't have a system of timing the market or have stopped believing that they can time. And I completely believe we can, because I just showed you one sentiment indicator and we have a dozen that allow us to time the market in and out multiple times a year and go out right multiple times more often than not. And so I write about all of that in our research service. My views, that is my views and my timing. But like I said, you can do it yourself. And sometimes doing it yourself is more powerful because it gives you greater conviction. And that's why strike money exists, so that you can use every tool, every indicator that I use. I've sort of incorporated everything over there. No more Excel sheets, no more maintaining of data on at my end. Everything should get into the software, and then we should be able to automate, speed it up, run AI on it, get results. That's the end goal of Strike Money. That we can find answers quickly on any topic, not just technical, but also fundamental derivatives. All the data is there. It's a very wide platform, and I've only talked about one aspect of it, which is like small percentage of what you use for a particular strategy, which is Nifty option buying. So that's why we focused only on this, but that doesn't mean that Strike Money doesn't cover all the tools and requirements of any investor trader on any time frame. You want to see 20 years of earnings of a particular stock, you can do that on Strike Money. Okay, so all of these indicators are on Strike Money. Like I said, RMI, swing, and if you're looking at using RMI on uh, other asset classes, gold, silver, etc., which are not yet on Strike Money, you can get TradingView access from the team. You will have to ask for the paid access to TradingView RMI. I've been using, like I said, RMI's final version, which we're using right now since 99. Though the first iteration I made in 96, made two tweaks to it, added some skews also, which we don't put out because they require different mind to learn and use, and also the basic RMI does a good enough job for most. So I said first let everybody get used to this, then we can always look at some advanced uh, readings. But like I said, it's been in the current format since 99 and I've used it across securities and asset classes, so no problem there. The swing was around since 2013, but I started to use it more actively after 2020, after COVID, after I quit my job. And in the last 2 years, I sort of put together the current strategy, which I've been sharing with you, which I've also executed multiple times now. So yeah, that's the history of it all, and you know now what to do. So before I just take it on to Q&A, just to give you a look around like of what I was talking about, that you can actually see, historical results or earnings or numbers and valuations of everything. So you see when you open a stock, you see all this over here, you get absolutely everything about that stock. And you can zoom in, increase size. So if you want to look at the earnings or just the revenues of the last 5 years, 10 years, and if you want to further widen it and look at a longer time period and scroll backwards, you can do that all the way till the data is available, till the stock was listed, and since the data became available. And for some cases, if it's not there backwards in consolidated, you find it in standalone, because standalone results sometimes go even further back. So this one goes back to 2004. So it depends on the company. Some companies have given consolidated only after 2012-13, and so it's available from there. And similarly, whether you look at quarterly, and then the best part I like, my love is with valuation charts, because when I look for long-term investment ideas, I actually look at where is the valuation. on a historical basis. And one of the reasons to cover 2, 3 decades of fundamental data is so that you actually get one bull and bear cycle. So you know that how this is done from 2007 or even from before that. So here, if I choose standalone, I can see all the way from 2002 EV by EBITDA, one cycle, two cycle, three cycle, where were and where we are right now. That gives you a lot more insight of how the cycle can play out. So, well, and a lot of many other things. All the data is adjusted, like derivatives. Open interest is adjusted for splits and bonuses. FIA positioning is adjusted for contract changes in Nifty. So we pretty much done what you really need to do with data to make it possible, and lots more coming in terms of screeners and scanners for fundamentals as well. So just giving you a brief overview of the Strike platform. But yeah, that's the session. Questions are welcome now on the strategy or anything else that you might have. And yeah, I'm done with my presentation.
Okay, so before I think we move on towards the Q&A, I'll request everyone who has a question, please raise your hand. Do not, no need to put it into the chat box. You can just raise your hand and we'll move on with the question as well. I can see there are a lot of questions in my inbox that are regarding the offer. So I'll just share my screen for once and all of you all can have a look at the offer. It is for all the people who are right now present in the webinar. So this is an all-in-one exclusive offer of research, data, analytics, all in one. You get 6 months strike plus 6 months India charts for 9999. And if you go for 1 year subscription, the advisable one, then you get 1 year strike plus 1 year India charts for 19,995. So right now, if you are watching it through your phone, there is a link in the chat box as well. You can click on the link and go through with the payment. But if you are maybe watching it on your laptop or computer or PC, then you can just scan the QR code and move ahead with the offer as well. I'm making sure that I'm answering all the questions regarding the offer in the chat box, but if you still have any questions, then start putting it into the chat box. Maybe it may come across to you that I'm not able to reach you, then you can also put your number and your name in the chat box along with your question, so that if not today, then our support team can reach you as soon as maybe the session is over or maybe tomorrow as well. So make sure that if you have any particular question, you can put it in the chat box as well. Also, if you have already a subscription of India charts and you want strike, or if you have strike and you want India charts, that also you can mention it in the chat box as well. Or else, as Rohit sir just now mentioned, if you want a trading view access for RMI, then also you can just ping it to me in the chat box. I'll just keep it over here for a few couple of minutes and then we'll move on towards the Q&A answer, question and answer राउंड एंड आई रिक्वेस्ट एवरीवन कि आप एक टाइम पे प्लीज एक ही सवाल पूछे ताकि हम बाकी के लोगों के भी सवाल ले पाए सो जस्ट वन क्वेश्चन एट अ टाइम एंड देन वी कैन मूव अहेड एंड वी वुड बी एबल टू आंसर देन अ लॉट ऑफ क्वेश्चंस एंड टेक अ लॉट ऑफ क्वेश्चंस एज वेल. Okay, then I think hopefully everyone must have gotten chance to scan the QR code right now. If not, then there is a link in the chat box. I'll just repeat it. You also would have received a link through me in your personal chat box as well. And for everyone also, it is there, pasted in the chat box. Now moving on with the Q&A. I think देखते हैं whoever has raised their hand. I can see Pankaj Mehra ji has raised his hand first. So I think let's start with him. Sir, I request you to unmute and ask your question, please.
Sure. Thank you, ma'am, and thank you, Rohit sir, for this wonderful session. And I am a subscriber of Strike Money. I recently bought it, and I'm learning with this. I have some query within that only. Sir, like you said, that there might be some time when market goes in the range, and at that point of time, divergence happens. So for me, like if I bought on a high, and I mean I've taken a sell signal, and then I've been waiting for that. So my premium also goes decade. So my question was that also because earlier in earlier session also I attended. You once said that future is not so much worth because in that is way costlier also, and you can get options for a monthly. So my question is that, sir, can't we take futures for this kind of because I was doing some back testing. So I found that in futures, we have a flexibility that whenever the market is going up, we are buying it and then we are selling it as per our requirement. We don't have any fear of decay. So this platform best works in future or options, monthly options will do.
No, there is no restriction to not do it in futures. I mean, I'm probably explaining it for options because of the general demand for people to want to trade that particular security. It's basically timing the Nifty. Once you've timed the top or a bottom, you can do futures, you can do options, you can do strategies, you can do anything, actually speaking.
Okay, so that means I can do future also, but at the cost of future, I can get multiple strikes or multiple premium slots for options. So for a monthly, so that would be more convenient for me. I'm buying a time for a month, so that would be more sufficient if I'm using RMI.
Yeah.
And sir, one more question is that in strike money, like in when we go in swing daily, so in that we don't find hourly or minutes time frame. It is there with the Rohit momentum, Rohit setup. But when
No,
we
it is
see,
there now for swing also. You may not have noticed. Almost a month or two back, we have introduced lower time frames for all the indicators. You just do this drop down, you see hourly.
okay, sir, no, sir, only hourly is there, minutes is not there,
Now,
like 15
minutes we have
minutes.
not gone to because, see, everything requires an iteration. Now, even hourly, see, I have used it on daily for the longest period. Each period, you have to also get used to how it works, how well it works for you on
Right,
a
sir.
lower and lower time frame. The more lower time frame I will go, the noise will also increase. So we didn't think of going to a lower time frame at this point of time. Uh, I don't know whether the need is there or not. I also don't know.
Sometime I found that when I'm doing trade on 15 minutes chart, like on a daily intraday, in
Hmm.
that case, I go to directly then Rohit setups and then I look at in that time frame.
Hmm.
बिकॉज स्विंग में तो वो मुझे मिलता नहीं है तो वो थोड़ा
Hmm.
सा रहता है एंड वन मोर थिंग सर द साइट लाइक अपडेट जो एक जैसे व्हेन वी यूज अवर एप्लीकेशन ब्रोकर एप्लीकेशन सो द
Hmm.
ट्रेडिंग जो उसका टिकिंग टिकिंग होता है जो वो बहुत फास्ट होता है बट इन
Hmm.
आर प्लेटफॉर्म इट इज ऑन अ रेगुलर इंटरवल इट इज लाइक दैट 1 minute or
1
2
minute.
minutes
1
1
minute.
minute okay okay sir okay thank you
Okay, let's move ahead. I can see दिलीप अलानी जी ने अपना हैंड रेस किया है तो लेट्स जस्ट सर रिक्वेस्टिंग यू टू अनम्यूट प्लीज.
Yeah, hi Rohit. So this is Dilip Palani.
Yeah.
Thanks for this wonderful session. So I would like to know if I can apply the RMI indicator on US stocks as well.
Yes, you can. Only
So
you'll
if
have to do it on TradingView. That's all. You'll have to take
yes,
TradingView access. Yeah.
yeah, I do have the TradingView access. So how
Hmm.
can I get purchase the RMI indicator from TradingView?
So you just contact my team. They will tell you.
Yes sir, I'll do that. Yes, absolutely. Any other question,
Uh,
Dilip sir, you have?
no, that's all. And if there is any settings needs to be changed on the RMI indicator?
No, it's already predefined. You don't have to do any settings. So if you see, there is nothing to change, really speaking.
Okay, sounds good. And it's going to be a one-time purchase or it's going to
Yeah,
be
one time.
okay, sounds good.
Okay, moving ahead. Anurag J, sir, you have raised your hand, requesting you to please ask your question.
Hi, good morning.
Good
So,
morning.
question is not related to RMA, but a different feature which I'm struggling with in Strike. So, when we use RRG, then if I have to see the RRG of one particular stock, then it becomes very difficult. So, RRG, the way it is that I need to know the index for it. And if I don't know the index of that stock, then I find it difficult to find the RRG for that.
You mean searching for particular stocks?
Yes,
Like, can you name a stock?
anything you can take. SBIN, let's say. If
SBI Life.
SBIN, any stock, let's say.
I
What?
just did.
Yeah.
So now so the thing is, it's probably easier to open from the chart. Uh, in directly in this, let me see. Directly in this, we don't have the option of,
Yes. Yeah. So that's what
typing the
I
stock.
was trying to highlight here. Because if we don't know the index, SBI was an easy example. We know it's a banking sector, but sometimes we don't know which of these index the stock belongs to. So that is the time I get stuck actually.
Yeah, I'm just checking because see, this is set up on. So I'm just showing you what may be possible. Okay,
Hmm.
currently it is set up on only indices, so I'm not seeing anything. Okay, now if I instead of indices, I take stocks. So for that, I'll have to actually change to just a second.
I have explored. It's not there actually here. So I was stuck. Like, I think if it is not there, one way would be that if we can somewhere add the index of the stock somewhere in the information, from
Hmm.
there we can see the which index it belongs to, and then come here and see it.
No, I think we will eventually. So we have done it in some other places where we have expanded the list to include all stocks.
Okay.
Here I still see only key indices are there, so there is no all stocks option or FNO basket option. Eventually, I think we will include it, and we will also include the watch list RRGs, which are missing, which also I can see are missing right now.
Okay. Okay. We
Because
will.
see now, if I open a watch list, see now it is showing. So it's picking up the stocks inside that watch list also. So one way is that you create a watch list of the stock you want
Mm-hmm.
and find it. I'll try to see if we can do a workaround, but this is one way is that I create a watch list and then of that stock and then just choose that watch list.
Sure.
That is the simplest way I can think of right now.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. And is there any update on that iOS app or your mobile app of Strike? Oh, sorry.
The mobile app is work in progress. I don't have a date with me. Date has been pending for a long time, but I'm hoping sooner than later.
Okay. Okay. No problem. We'll wait for it. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving ahead, I can see Neeraj Kumar Suman has raised your hand. Please asking you to unmute and ask your question, sir.
हेलो, आई एम
Yeah.
ऑडिबल?
Yeah.
या थैंक यू सर, आपने बहुत अच्छा दिया है एक्चुअली सर। फर्स्ट थिंग, ये एक तो आरआरजी वाला जो आपका है इज रियली गुड, जिससे हमें पता चल जाता है कि सेक्टर कौन सा है या कौन सा स्टॉक अप जा रहा है। एंड आई एम
Hmm.
यूजिंग फ्रॉम लास्ट 1 मंथ आपका,
Hmm.
ये मैंने 1 मंथ का सब्सक्रिप्शन लिया था।
Hmm.
बट माय क्वेश्चन इज दैट सर कि एक्चुअली जो आपने निफ्टी का बताया था इट्स रियली गुड कि आप स्विंग मतलब मंथली एक्सपायरी या वीकली एक्सपायरी में आप जा सकते हैं। मगर एक्चुअली सर प्रॉब्लम क्या है कि जैसे कि अब निफ्टी 50 है, अब उसमें एचडीएफसी, रिलायंस, आईसीआईसी, इन्फोसिस, ये जो चार जो बड़े स्टॉक्स हैं ये एक मेजोरिटी कवर करते हैं। तो
Hmm.
चारों पे ट्रैकिंग करना बड़ा क्वाइट डिफिकल्ट हो जाता है। कई बार ऐसा होता है कि तीन डाउन है मगर इन्फोसिस खींच के ले जाता है ऊपर, कभी रिलायंस खींच के ले जाता है ऊपर। इज इट पॉसिबल कि स्टॉक्स में भी कोई ऑप्शन है हमारे पास में कि जिससे हम सिर्फ स्टॉक ऑप्शन में मतलब ट्रेड कर सके डेली बेसिस पे या वीकली बेसिस पे या मंथली एक्सपायरी बेसिस पे?
I'm not sure I fully understood your question.
सर मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है, जैसे एफएनओ में राइट नाउ 220 स्टॉक्स हैं, राइट?
Hmm.
अभी लेट्स सपोज जैसे मैंने अभी जो लास्ट ट्रेड कल किया था मैंने किया था इन्फोसिस पे। मैंने 1210 की पुट ली थी, राइट। मगर मैंने तो अपने जो मैं कर रहा हूँ हिसाब से मैंने लिया था, क्योंकि यहाँ पे आपका जो मेन होम पेज है वहां पे आया था कि टॉप गेनर में इन्फोसिस सबसे ज्यादा चल रहा था कल, 4%
ओके
बढ़ा था वो। तो मैंने उस
ओके
हिसाब से इन्फोसिस का स्टॉक ले लिया था कि इन्फोसिस एक मतलब कॉमन स्टडी है कि इन्फोसिस जो शेयर है वो 5% से ज्यादा कभी बढ़ता नहीं है,
हम्म
और बढ़ेगा तो 1-2% वापस डाउनग्रेड तो आएगा ही आएगा। तो मैंने सबसे पुट ले लिया था,
हम्म
और मुझे 1 घंटे में मैंने मतलब जल्दी काट दिया था क्योंकि मुझे ऑफिस ऑफिस जाना था, तो मैंने अपना नॉमिनल प्रॉफिट बुक करके कर दिया था। मगर जैसे भी आपने निफ्टी ऑप्शन में बताया था ना कि चार्ट के हिसाब से, आरएमआई चार्ट के हिसाब से आप यहाँ से बाय कर सकते हो, 1 हफ्ते का ले सकते हो, 1 महीने का ले सकते हो। इज देयर एनी ऑप्शन फॉर पर्टिकुलर स्टॉक्स? लेट सपोज अगर कल कोई स्टॉक ऑप्शन करना है तो क्या करूँ मैं उसके लिए, मतलब कोई
मैंने
मेरे पास
आपको स्कैनिंग का तरीका ही दिखाया है एक,
हम्म।
which is that you use the scanner to find stocks.
बट इट्स मीन्स हावरली बेसिस ना सर, ये
नहीं,
1 घंटा।
आवरली, डेली, वीकली, आपको जो टाइम फ्रेम चाहिए।
ओके। नहीं सर, मगर अभी जो सिचुएशन चल रही है ट्रम्प जी के आने के बाद से, पिछले लास्ट ईयर से मार्केट स्टेबल नहीं है। अभी आप कल ही
अभी
देखेंगे
आप मुझे
कि
एक सवाल पूछ रहे हो, अभी कुछ और सवाल पूछ रहे
नहीं
हो।
नहीं सर, मैं इसलिए बता रहा हूँ ना सर, एक्चुअली मैं यही जानना चाह रहा हूँ कि पर्टिकुलर अगर हमें स्टॉक ऑप्शन अगर करना है तो कैसे करेंगे अभी, मतलब कुछ उसका ऑप्शन है मेरे पास में का, मैं
नहीं,
लेट सपोज
तरीका थोड़ी बदल जाएगा। कल ट्रम्प की जगह बाइडेन आ जाएगा तो क्या नए इंडिकेटर्स बनाऊंगा मैं?
नहीं नहीं नहीं, नॉट इंडिकेटर
तो
सर,
फिर
जैसे
बात यही है ना। बात आप जो कैसी, आखिर में मुझे प्राइस के इंडिकेटर से ही बाई से लाना है ना।
राइट सर।
तो इंडिकेटर थोड़ी बदल जाएगा। सो
नहीं
डिपेंड्स
जैसे
ऑन व्हाट यू वांट टू ट्रेड फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल। तो मैंने यहाँ पे एफएनओ बास्केट लिया, आपको एफएनओ स्टॉक्स में काम करना है, निफ्टी में काम करना है, तो निफ्टी का इंडेक्स में इधर डाल लूंगा, है ना। आई कैन चूज व्हाट आई वांट टू डू एंड वेयर आई वांट टू डू इट।
बट निफ्टी में तो आपने एक अच्छा बताया था कि मतलब आपके पास एक पूरा एक एवरेज रेशियो आ जाता है जो आरएमआई में दिखा रहा है, मगर
आरएमआई में नहीं,
पर्टिकुलर,
स्विंग में दिखा रहा है।
हाँ सॉरी, स्विंग में
आरएमआई
दिखा
तो,
रहा है।
आरएमआई इज जस्ट मोमेंटम ऑफ एनीथिंग।
या सॉरी,
आरएमआई तो मैं इन्फोसिस पे भी लगा लूंगा।
स्विंग पे दिखा रहा है, मगर इज देयर एनी ऑप्शन फॉर पर्टिकुलर स्टॉक
तो
अगर लेट
स्विंग कैन
सपोज,
नॉट बी डन ऑन स्टॉक्स, मैंने पहले ही बताया है।
स्विंग के अलावा कोई ऑप्शन नहीं है हमारे पास में?
मतलब कैसे होगा बताओ मुझे। स्विंग जो है वो 200-250 स्टॉक को लेके मैं कैलकुलेट कर रहा हूँ। अब आप
राइट
कह रहे
सर।
हो एक स्टॉक पे इंडिकेटर बनाओ, एक स्टॉक पे मैं 250 स्टॉक का इंडिकेटर थोड़ी बना सकता हूँ। इन्फोसिस तो इन्फोसिस ही है ना।
नहीं नहीं, इट्स फाइन सर, मैं तो सिर्फ अपनी क्यूरियोसिटी जानना चाह रहा था कि ऐसा कुछ होता है क्या, मुझे तो जाहिर सी बात है
आई
निफ्टी का तभी
विश,
तो हम देख रहे हैं।
आई ऑल्सो विश,
या
बट यू कैनॉट गेट
क्योंकि
एवरीथिंग।
आई एम ऑल्सो वर्किंग फ्रॉम लास्ट 5 to 6 years, और मैंने भी मतलब मेरे पास राइट नाउ भी स्टॉक एज भी है, ट्रेडिंग व्यू भी है, और 2-3 और है मेरे पास में। मगर ये जैसे अभी आपका ये आरआरजी वाला जो था वो मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा कि जिसमें आप सेक्टर रोटेशन दिखा रहे हैं ना कि ये सेक्टर अब इस जगह जा
So
रहा है,
the
इस जगह जा
way
रहा
the
है।
way to look study options in stocks now is to probably study what is happening in different strikes or to study what is happening in the open interest. तो हमने यहाँ ओपन इंटरेस्ट के चार्ट्स दिए हैं, दीज आर क्यूमुलेटिव ओपन इंटरेस्ट। जब कोई स्टॉक बहुत गिर जाता है और उसका ओपन इंटरेस्ट बढ़ रहा है, तो समवेयर इट इज इंडिकेटिंग कि शॉर्ट्स आर गेटिंग बिल्ट अप, बट यू हैव टू वेट फॉर द ट्रेंड टू चेंज फॉर शॉर्ट कवरिंग टू स्टार्ट। ये
ओके
आपको
सर।
इन्फोसिस में दिख रहा है कि भाव घट रहा है और शॉर्ट ऐड हो रहा है।
ये तो सर एकदम लास्ट मोमेंट पे हुआ मतलब हाँ, डी चार्ट पे आप देख रहे हैं तो
नहीं, एक
नीचे
साल
आ
से हो
रहा
रहा
है।
है, मैं कोई लास्ट मिनट की बात नहीं है, एक साल का ट्रेंड है। 2024 से 2025 में ओपन इंटरेस्ट इज गोइंग अप अप अप, market is going down down down.
हाँ
This means shorts are getting added up. Now when will the shorts result in the opposite, where short covering happens, open interest will go down and prices will go up? अब ये ट्रेंड तो देख के ही समझ में आएगा, पर ये लैग से समझ में आएगा। आप जिस तरह स्विंग आप कह रहे हो बिल्कुल एग्जैक्ट टाइमिंग करे स्टॉक में, नहीं, वैसा इंडिकेटर स्टॉक के लिए नहीं है।
ओके सर, ठीक है सर,
उस चीज
थैंक
के
यू।
लिए यू कैन ओनली स्टडी दी स्ट्राइक्स। नाउ फॉर स्ट्राइक्स व्हाट यू हैव टू गो इनटू स्टडीइंग इज यू हैव टू लुक एट समथिंग नोन एज स्ट्राइक वाई इनसाइट्स। ये क्या आपको बताता है कि किसी भी स्टॉक में, और आप अभी इन्फोसिस, तो मैं इन्फोसिस का ही उदाहरण लेता हूँ। ओके, इन्फोसिस में सबसे ज्यादा कॉल और सबसे ज्यादा पुट ओपन इंटरेस्ट कौन से स्ट्राइक में है? सो सबसे ज्यादा कॉल है 1200 में
हम्म।
और पुट भी 1200 में, मतलब 1200 इज एन इंपॉर्टेंट लेवल।
राइट।
ओके, राइट नाउ, एंड वेयर आर वी आर बिलो 1200। तो आपको अगर इन्फोसिस में तेजी करनी है तो 1200 के ऊपर जाना पड़ेगा, नंबर वन। नंबर टू, जब वो 1200 क्रॉस करता है, उस टाइम पे यू हैव टू स्टडी व्हाट हैपेंस टू दिस, बिकॉज व्हेन यू क्रॉस 1200, ओके, अगर यहाँ पे ये बायर और सेलर दोनों है ना, ये ओपन इंटरेस्ट है,
हम्म।
मतलब किसी ने खरीदा भी है, किसी ने बेचा भी है, तो लेट से बेचने वाला स्ट्रांग है, तो बेचने वाले ने इतना कुछ बेच के रखा है, वो तो सोच रहा है कि इन्फोसिस नहीं चलेगा। अगर 1200 क्रॉस होता है और ये आदमी डर जाता है तो वो काटेगा पोजीशन।
राइट सर।
So on crossing 1200, you have to study whether the open interest over here is going up or down. See, यहाँ पे हमने OI change दिया है. Right now, OI is still going up. That means we still expect 1200 to be a strong resistance. But at some point of time, prices will go above 1200 and this OI will go down. If the OI goes down, especially significantly, 30%, 40%, तो मतलब अब 1200 निकल गया, अब इसके नीचे नहीं आना है, अब इधर से शॉर्ट कवरिंग होगी।
ओके।
और अगर 1200 के ऊपर गया और आप देख रहे हो ये आदमी हिल ही नहीं रहा है, तो वो 1200 के ऊपर सस्टेन नहीं कर पाएगा, वापस नीचे घुस जाएगा।
तो ये अपने ओआई का रिफ्रेश रेट कितना है, मतलब पर मिनट होता है या
1
ऐसा
मिनट।
कुछ? 1 मिनट होता है। ओके, ठीक है सर, थैंक यू।
Okay, moving ahead. I can see Vineet Gupta ji ने यहाँ पे hand raise किया है. Sir, please, if you could ask your question, please.
Very good morning, sir.
गुड मॉर्निंग।
Sir, I would like to understand a little bit the option setup. Sir, if you don't mind, can I take you to momentum's swing
या
indicator? Sir, in that, I was checking, like in month of April, 20th April on weekly, the RMI indicator gives a buy signal.
हम्म
And when I mark a vertical line and then I check the daily on the daily chart, like on 24th of April, the swing is low at near to 20 RMI,
हम्म
RSI. So then, like as you had given on the what do you call it? Uh, in your a trade that buy 3 calls and 1 put. So in that case, if we add, like the first buy will be on the 24th of April, then on again on 30th of April it touches the 20 mark. So
हम्म
we can add the same combination of 1 put and 3 call. Then on 12th May again it happens and we add again. And then, sir, on 25th
बट
of
यू आर
May,
नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट एन एग्जिट।
yeah. So the exit, what I see is on 25th of May on daily chart when it touches 80.
नो,
So,
दिस इज द एग्जिट राइट नाउ, बट व्हाट अबाउट द वन व्हिच अकर्ड ऑन 24th of April?
so like we are buying for the month as advised.
No,
Like
you're buying the monthly option, but your exit has to be when the trend ends. So basically, when does the trend end? Trend ends when the hourly RMI turns into sell. Okay, so that is a lower time frame than this. Okay, or
okay,
when you break, say, the 40-hour average, something on the lower time frame. So here now I'll go to an hourly chart. Okay, so say on the 24th of April, which is over here, you are buying. Okay, our
yes,
anticipation, it goes up, but it didn't
yes,
go up a lot. See, sometimes what happens is when you get a buy signal here and it goes up a lot. Sometimes you buy here, it goes up only so much. And after that, here the hourly is giving me a sell signal.
understood,
So then I have to get out and say, okay, this is not working out, which I have written also. You're referring to my research notes, which is slightly different, where I am doing some strategies which are out of this also. But uh, the exit has to be here. And so similarly, so there are multiple attempts for it to go up. Some of them will work, some of them will not. But I have found that more of them work than don't. This is sometimes you're caught in a range like this where it's very tight. But otherwise, even in a trading range, I find that sometimes, like here, when we got buy signals here, you got meaningful, up moves also. So it's not happened this time. We've been very, very narrow. Uh, but if you can't, we can't stop trying. So again, here, if you got a buy signal on the 13th of May, it did go up, but then it turned down. So it gave a sell signal here on the hourly, and that sort of gave up. So then after
understood.
that, we are waiting for the next signal. After that, there is no fresh signal. The only one to get out one was here, which, okay, this is at 8. The last buy was here. Now, if I got out here, then there is nothing here to do.
Yes.
Except if one wants to, read the 80 as a time to buy puts. It could have worked, but sometimes it doesn't. It depends on the view. So the view I'm taking from the weekly RMI, which here throughout has remained bullish. If the weekly RMI was bearish, we would have bought puts on this 80 reading, but that was not the case.
So, sir, like the weekly RMI is still giving us a buy.
Yeah.
So, then why should we exit on the hourly? Can't we exit on the daily?
No, the reason we are doing that is because options are a shorter term trade. Na? See, we don't know whether the trade will play out for 3 days, 10 days, 5 days. What if something goes wrong? Then you just hold on. But yeah, so I'll tell you, there are two parts. One is that, see, what I'm explaining over here, and you're asking about a strategy versus a pure play. Here, I'm only explaining pure play based on the swing and RMI. I'm not explaining to buy calls and puts and, hedged strategy. In a hedged strategy, you can hold on. The reason is that even if it falls too much, the puts will, save you and you will not lose anything. That is why we've tried to do it that way. You're getting me?
Yes, I'm getting you, sir.
Yeah. So, for example, and I gave this example in Weekend with India Charts yesterday also, that what is the loss if I bought puts here when it was short, okay, when I had the swing reading, it fell. If I didn't get out on the hourly and the next day, what happened? Trade deal. What is the loss to premium? It was only 10% because we had hedged with calls.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that is the advantage here. But if I'm purely only following the strategy and I bought calls here without a hedge, I must get out here because when this fall happens, then there's too much loss here because of two things. One is IV and the other one is time. And I have no hedge. So it's better to get out and then re-enter in that case.
I understood. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move ahead. We'll stick to a few more questions before we end this particular session. Shivam Mishra, sir, I think you have raised your hand. If you could please ask your question.
So, am I audible?
Yes.
हाय गुड मॉर्निंग सर बेसिकली ये मैं आपका जो सेटअप है अप्रोक्सीमेटली 1 ईयर से यूज कर रहा हूँ अभी होता क्या है कि फेलियर मुझे कहाँ पे देखने को मिलता है ऑल्दो आरएमआई इज बेटर बट आरएमआई को अगर मैं इंडिविजुअल यूज कर रहा हूँ तो क्या होता है कि क्रॉस ओवर मिला मैंने एंट्री किया बेसिकली स्टॉक ऑप्शन ट्रेड करता हूँ उसके बाद कुछ घंटों के बाद में या नेक्स्ट डे वो आरएमआई क्रॉस ओवर रिवर्स हो गया और वहां पे फेलियर ऑल्दो मैंने एंट्री भी जीरो लाइन से नीचे ही जब क्रॉस ओवर होता है तब मैंने किया था तो उसके बाद में फिर मैंने कुछ चीजें और इसमें वेबिनार्स अटेंड किए स्टडी किया ओआई इनसाइट्स के बारे में जाना और अभी आपने निफ्टी का स्विंग बताया तो आप मुझे थोड़ा सा बस इतना सजेस्ट कर दीजिए कि क्या मैं ये तीनों चीजें कंबाइन करके यूज करूं मतलब कि जो डेली स्विंग है ऑल्दो डेली स्विंग बहुत अच्छा मैंने बैक टेस्ट करके देखा डेली स्विंग बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहा है तो डेली स्विंग और आरएमआई और ओआई इनसाइट इन तीनों को कॉम्बिनेशन करके यूज करूं जो बेटर रिजल्ट मिल जाए या कुछ अलग मेथड हो सकता है
So see, you're talking about stock options now. So we are not talking about Nifty. है ना अब स्टॉक ऑप्शंस अगर आप ट्रेड कर रहे हो टिपिकली अ टाइम फ्रेम फॉर ट्रेडिंग स्टॉक ऑप्शन इज 3 to 4 to 5 days or 10 days maximum is what I understand. It is not like whole month, but yeah, you have to buy monthly options. Now, for next 4 to 5 days to find trades ना I will use a lower time frame filter. मैंने यहाँ पे सेटअप किया है डेली और आर्ली instead of weekly and daily. I'm looking at daily and hourly. So in daily, I'm looking at stocks which are already in buy and new buy और कहाँ पे नया buy signal आ रहा है.
सर यही सेम यूज किया था मैंने क्योंकि मैंने आपके मल्टीपल वेबिनार अटेंड किए हैं बट क्या होता है ना कि मैं इंडिविजुअली आरएमआई पे अगर यूज करने के लिए जाता हूँ आवरली पे सपोज करो न्यू बाई आया मैंने एंट्री किया और बाई डेली पे आपका बाई या न्यू बाई दिख रहा है इस कॉम्बिनेशन को यूज करता हूँ लेकिन फेलियर वहां पे हो जाता है अभी अब मुझे बस इतना सा थोड़ा सा बस सजेस्ट कर दीजिएगा कि जैसे निफ्टी का डायरेक्शन मान के चलते हैं अभी डेली स्विंग अभी 34 के अप्रोक्सीमेटली चल रहा है ये 20 के बिलो आ जाएगा तो इट्स कॉल्ड ओवर सोल्ड मार्केट, तो यहाँ से एक रिवर्सल साइन हो सकता है आपके अकॉर्डिंग। तो वहां पे आरएमआई यूज करूं जो बेटर रिजल्ट मिलेंगे, या अभी मैं वेट करूं कि भाई ये ओवर सोल्ड हो जाने दो, उसके बाद में मैंने स्टॉक वाई इनसाइट देखा, वहां पे देखा कि कॉल राइटर कहाँ पे अपनी पोजीशंस को छोड़ रहे हैं, उसके बाद में आरएमआई, मतलब तीनों को कंबाइन करके यूज करूं तो ज्यादा बेटर रिजल्ट मिलेंगे, या मैं इंडिविजुअली आरएमआई यूज करूं तो मुझे ज्यादा अच्छा मिलेगा?
सी देर आर मेनी टूल्स। अभी मैं जितना मैंने इस चीज़ को इतना फाइन ट्यून नहीं किया है कि मैं बोलूँ कि आप ये चारों चीज़ों को इस्तेमाल करिए। If you know about me, I'm a practitioner of Elliott wave analysis. So if you ask me what I actually do if I'm buying a stock option, I also look at the wave analysis of the stock. I also try to look at the trade setup. What we are seeing here in the combination of Bollinger Bands and averages, the stock can give a buy signal, but is it holding above the bands and averages? Is the trend positive? And am I seeing a 1, 2, 3 wave count? So there are some additional things that I'm able to take use of. But what I would look for is it holding? Like, is it not breaking support level? So for example, यहाँ अभी मैं कल्याण ज्वेलर का आर्ली चार्ट देख रहा हूँ, ये सपोर्ट तोड़ नहीं रहा है, अपना लोअर बॉलिंगर बैंड ये सब होल्ड करके ऊपर आ रहा है। तो इस पे ज्यादा कॉन्फिडेंस आएगा मुझे कंपेयर
जी
टू समथिंग एल्स। ओके, एंड अगर डेली में भी वैसा है, अभी जैसे मैं ओवरऑल रियलिटी हम लोग देख रहे हैं, तो ये डेली में भी यहाँ पे बाय में आया और एवरेजेस के ऊपर है, और उस टाइम पे फिर वो आर्ली में अभी ये देखिए क्या कर रहा है कि इट इज नॉट गोइंग बिलो बिलो द एवरेजेस एंड द लोअर बैंड। तो ये ज्यादा रिलायबल लगता है जो चीज सपोर्ट को होल्ड करके वापस बाय दे रही है, वर्सेस समथिंग जो एराटिक हो जाती है कि कभी कभी ऐसे तोड़ फोड़ करके भी बाय आ रहा है।
इसका
और एक
मतलब है
जो
कि आप ओनली स्टॉक ऑप्शंस में सिर्फ आप आरएमआई ही यूज करते हैं, मतलब मोस्टली आरएमआई ही आप यूज करते हैं, इसका मतलब ये है सर, मैं आरएमआई ही यूज करूं?
RMI is a scan which is first step ना, because then I can come down to कि out of 100 and 200 stocks I have only so many। अब इनमें भी
जी
मुझे
जी
एडिशनल स्टडी तो करना पड़ेगा कि इसमें से कौन सा लूं, सब तो नहीं ले सकता।
जी जी
तो एडिशनल स्टडी के लिए मैं वही बता रहा हूँ, इट कैन बी मल्टीपल थिंग्स। द ऑप्शन स्ट्राइक वाला जो बताया वो दैट इज वन वे ऑफ थिंकिंग अबाउट इट कि वो चीज़ दिख रही है क्या, बट हमेशा वो नहीं दिखेगी। सेकेंड थिंग विच आई एम लुकिंग एट इज इन द ट्रेड सेटअप विच ऑफ द स्टॉक्स विच आर गिविंग बाय सिग्नल्स आर होल्डिंग देयर सपोर्ट एंड विच आर नॉट। सम ऑफ देम कैन बी एराटिक। अब ये देखिए एसबीआई कार्ड ये एराटिक है, ये बाय तो आ रहा है
जी
बट इसका भाव एवरेजेस के नीचे ऊपर सब हो चुका है, तो इस पे मुझे कम
जी जी
कॉन्फिडेंस आता है वर्सेस
अभी
सम।
लास्ट लास्ट सर वेबिनार मैंने अटेंड किया था, तो उसमें यही आपने निफ्टी का ये जो डेली स्विंग है ये बताया था, इसे मैंने
हम्म
कंबाइन करके यूज किया।
हम्म
तो क्या अभी उस समय मार्केट में काफी ज्यादा गिरावट हुई थी, सारे लोग पैनिक पैनिक थे, बट वहां पे जब ओवरसोल्ड हो रहा था तो स्टॉक ऑप्शंस बाई गया था, और
हम्म
वहां पे आईटी सेक्टर्स ने काफी लीड किया था बीच में, अब आपको
हम्म
याद होगा। तो
हम्म
काफी अच्छा रिजल्ट मिला। तो मतलब बस मुझे बस सिंपल से ये जानना था कि जो आपने डेली स्विंग वाला कॉन्सेप्ट बताया है वो बिल्कुल
हम्म।
अलग कॉन्सेप्ट है, या इसे मैं कंबाइन करके आरएमआई के साथ में यूज करूं?
तो डेली स्विंग इज फॉर निफ्टी ना, नॉट फॉर स्टॉक्स।
जी नहीं, लेकिन ओवरऑल सेंटिमेंट्स का तो अंदाजा आई थिंक हो सकता है, हो जाता है ना उसमें?
नहीं वो ठीक है,
जी
आई
जी
एम नॉट डिनाइंग दैट, बट आई एम यूजिंग डेली स्विंग ओनली टू टाइम द निफ्टी। उसके बाद
अच्छा
हम
ओके,
लोग
आप निफ्टी के लिए यूज करते
उसके बाद स्टॉक ढूंढते हैं जो अच्छा लगता है, बट स्टॉक जो अच्छे लग रहे हैं कैसे मैं डिसाइड करूं, दैट इज द बिगर क्वेश्चन। आपको तो
हैं?
10
जी
दिखेंगे तो 10 में से एक कैसे निकालूं, वो मैं आपको
जी जी
बता
ये
रहा हूँ। यू हैव टू सी इट ऑन द ट्रेड सेटअप विच व्हाट इज होल्डिंग बेटर, व्हाट इज नॉट ब्रेकिंग, होपफुली होल्डिंग बेटर ऑन मल्टीपल टाइम फ्रेम्स। अभी सुजलॉन हम मैं इधर सामने देख रहा हूँ, तो इसने बॉलिंगर बैंड और एवरेज नहीं तोड़ा है डेली में भी, और आर्ली में भी नहीं तोड़ा एवरेज। तो दिस इज स्ट्रॉन्गर आउट ऑफ द अदर, जिस और जो तोड़ रहा है बार बार वो कम स्ट्रांग हो जाता है।
जी ओके ओके
ये चीज विजुअली मुझे
ओ,
समझ में आती है, देख देख के आपको थोड़ा ध्यान देख के सोचना पड़ेगा कि हाँ ये चीज जो है वो डेली में भी नहीं तोड़ रही है और आर्ली में भी नहीं तोड़ रही है तो ज्यादा स्ट्रांग है। जो चीज हर लेवल पे अपने एवरेजेस बैंड्स को तोड़ती रहती है तो वो थोड़ा कम स्ट्रांग है, वो ज्यादा वॉलेटाइल है, वो आपको परेशान करेगा।
ओके सर, ओके, थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू सो मच।
Okay, I think last 2 to 3 questions we can take before we conclude this session. यहाँ पे I can see संजय मांडुस्कर जी ने अपना hand raise किया है, तो sir if you could please ask your question.
हेलो रोहित सर।
Yeah.
रोहित सर, आपका एक जो चार्ट सेटअप है उसमें रोहित वैल्यूएशन सेटअप जो है
Hmm.
उसमें भी पूछना था कि इफ आई पुट द चार्ट्स एंड बिलो रोहित मोमेंटम इंडिकेटर में डालता हूँ और उसके बिले वैल्यूएशन का मैं पैरामीटर पीई का डालता हूँ या एग्जैक्टली
Hmm. Hmm.
इसको मैं लेआउट करके सेव कैसा करूँ सर? बिकॉज इफ आई वांट टू हैव अ पर्टिकुलर सेटअप जस्ट एग्जैक्टली दिस वन
Hmm.
सेव एज अ लेआउट, तो वो मैं कैसा करूँ सर? बिकॉज बार बार फिर मुझे फिर वो ये हो जाता है कि वैल्यूएशन सेटअप मुझे, बिकॉज उसमें अगर मल्टीपल वैल्यूएशन सेटअप में डालता हूँ अपार्ट
Understood.
विथ आरएमआई,
Understood.
तो
We'll
फिर
take it as a request. इधर है नहीं वो बटन. We take it as a request to add.
या राहुल को मैंने बताया है सर, तो
Hmm.
जस्ट लाइक वांटेड टू नो इन केस योर डीपर इनसाइट पॉसिबल, बिकॉज क्या होता है वो लोग क्या बोल रहे हैं, राहुल क्या बोल रहा है कि वैल्यूएशन पे जाओ, बट देन दैट इज कम्प्लीटली अनदर टैब, तो वो चार्ट के साथ मैं कंबाइन नहीं कर पाता एज वी कैन डू इट इन ट्रेडिंग व्यू,
Hmm. या
राइट
नो,
सर?
और वहां पे भी सेव तो नहीं होगा. आपको तीनों चीजें चाहिए ना.
या
आपको ये तीनों का
एग्जैक्टली
सेटअप एक सेव करके रखना है. इट शुड
एग्जैक्टली
बी
सो
इजी
दैट आई
फॉर अस.
कैन,
इट्स ओनली अ लिटिल बिट ऑफ कोडिंग टू गिव यू दैट.
या फिर मुझे वो वीकली पे ज्यादा हेल्पफुल हो जाएगा, बिकॉज वी आर अ पार्ट टाइम ट्रेडर, वी आल्सो गो ऑन जॉब्स, तो अगर वो कैश पोजीशन लेना पड़ेगा तो इन दैट सिचुएशन थोड़ा हेल्प हो जाता है जैसे।
ठीक है. सेविंग टेम्पलेट फॉर स्ट्राइक वैल्यूएशन सेटअप.
या दूसरा पूछना था सर, ये आपका जो सेंटिमेंट एंड दिस थिंग आरएमआई अलॉन्ग विद निफ्टी ऑप्शन का स्ट्रैटेजी है, तो उसमें हम लोग जो आरएमआई वीकली स्टडी करते हैं वो कैश निफ्टी देखते हैं, सो लाइक जस्ट पॉसिबल, बिकॉज जो ऑप्शन का वैल्यूएशन होता है, प्राइसिंग होता है, वो फ्यूचर से आता है, तो वेदर निफ्टी 1 मंथ फ्यूचर रोलिंग चार्ट विल मेक अ लिटिल बिट डिफरेंस?
I don't know the answer.
ओके सर, ओके सर, जस्ट थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू, थैंक यू।
ओके, थैंक यू सर। आगे बढ़ते हैं। नागेश जी ने यहाँ पे हैंड रेज किया है। सर, इफ यू कुड प्लीज आस्क योर क्वेश्चन।
Hello, can you?
Hello.
Hope I am audible.
Yeah.
यस।
Hi, Rohit. Actually, yeah, just want to ask about the choosing the right strike
Hmm.
for the this for example for Nifty. So
Yeah.
whether what are the criteria for choosing the this highest open interest, change in the highest open interest, and the delta. So because I have seen sometimes that there is a highest open interest, but that strike price it doesn't work. So maybe because of the it is near the expiry, or because of the put writers or the call writers, they change their positions, so that is sometimes becomes a bit difficult for choosing the right strike.
In any case, we
Right.
are choosing a strike which is monthly or having more than 3 weeks to expiry. So you will never be close to expiry.
Okay.
Second is,
Okay.
while we are talking only of Nifty here, if you're doing stocks, then yes, you'll have to look at the open interest. Nifty mein zyadatar everything is liquid.
Okay.
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 In stocks, you may have to do a little bit of choice, but that doesn't change delta. So delta is the most important thing. Now you can use
Mhm.
a delta chart. So the moment I click on delta, my option change is listed in delta terms, and also by the expiry dates. राइट. सो इफ आई एम
Okay.
टुडे थिंकिंग ऑफ 30th जून, ऐसे 30th जून का कॉल चाहिए मुझे. ओके, तो
Okay.
मुझे पॉइंट कहाँ तक जाना है? आई कैन गो आउट ऑफ द मनी ईयर 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 ईयर, बट नॉट बिलो दिस. सो दिस इज
Okay.
24,100. Okay, so any strike between now and 24,100 for 30th June is okay. उसके बाद your delta will become too less, where you
Yeah, after maybe mid of the month, the delta will start, yeah, getting eroded.
Yeah, so the delta should be less, greater than 0.37. So यहाँ पे 24,100 तक इतनी जगह है, which is almost 4-5 strikes.
Okay.
If you want to
Okay.
keep it tight, you'll keep it within 0.37, within 0.4. तो फिर within 0.4 तो 24,000.
Okay. Okay. And how to look at it if there is a change, sudden change in the this open interest?
In Nifty, change in open interest, I don't give so much importance
Okay.
because I am spending all my time in taking a view. If my view is right, open interest तो अपने आप बदल जाएगा.
Okay. So based on the your RMI indicator and the your swing indicator, your we have to, yeah,
Yes.
take the call. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Last question we'll take now. Madhavji, I think you have raised your hand. Please ask your question.
Hi sir. Sir, actually मुझे I have 2-3 questions. Firstly, last 30 minutes में हमने देखा कि MSCI रीजिक के कारण निफ्टी ने काफ़ी शार्प एकदम से फॉल आया.
हम्म
उसका मुझे पूछना था आपसे. एंड सर, सेकेंडली आई वांटेड टू स्टार्ट डूइंग फ्यूचर्स ट्रेडिंग. लाइक आई ऑलरेडी लाइक स्टार्टेड डूइंग फ्यूचर्स ट्रेडिंग. सो
हम्म
ये प्लेटफॉर्म पे वो कैसे, लाइक हाउ डू आई लुक एट फ्यूचर्स ट्रेडिंग? शुड बी शॉर्ट लॉन्ग बिल्डअप इन शॉर्ट कवरिंग लॉन्ग लाइक कवरिंग. And I wanted to ask your views on, let's take a stock example, Bharat Dynamics. तो उसका प्राइस was currently like falling like very bad. उसका रिजल्ट बहुत big poor आया था and the open interest was rising as well. So what does that mean? So how do I make that mental model in my mind कि वो मैं कैसे analyze करूँ?
See, futures trading के लिए ना, you have to first lay out your parameters at a portfolio level. कि आप एक ही फ्यूचर करने वाले हो, 5 करने वाले हो, 10 करने वाले हो. ओके, हाउ मेनी स्टॉक्स आर यू गोइंग टू ट्रेड इन एज अ बास्केट? आर यू गोइंग टू रन अ पोर्टफोलियो ऑफ फ्यूचर्स? क्योंकि अगर एक ही कर रहे हो तो उसका अलग लॉजिक है. 10 कर रहे हो तो उतना पर आइटम आपको उतना पैसा डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करना है मार्जिन में और एक्सपोजर में. क्योंकि कभी कभी होता है कि आप सिंगल लॉट ही अगर कर रहे हो, एक का लॉट 20 लाख का है, दूसरे का लॉट 10 लाख का है, तो आपका पोजीशन साइज ही अलग हो गया. तो द 4% लॉस इन स्टॉक वन इज ग्रेटर देन 4% in stock two. So you don't have an equal weight. So to run a large book of 10 stocks or more takes a larger capital. If you decide कि नहीं, मैं ये 2-3 स्टॉक ही लेके कुछ ना कुछ 2-3 में ही काम करता जाऊंगा, तो then also if you keep the weightages equal is important. So try to see how you will keep it equal. That is one thing. From a reading point of view, nothing changes because finally मैं RMI daily, weekly, hourly जो भी करना है वही करने वाला हूँ. Because that amounts to taking a view. Whether I do it in future, do it in option, do a strategy is called execution. It has nothing to do with taking a view. My way of taking a view doesn't change because I'm trading futures versus options. So timing the market is going to be based on technical analysis, charts, swing, RMI. Whether I choose to do futures and options is where money management rules become more critical. Ki what rules am I going to apply to trading this particular instrument so that my risk is kept at the minimum.
Sir, I also wanted to ask like another. I had another question regarding this. कि let's say Bharat Dynamics, for example, this was a defense stock. तो
Hmm.
results बहुत poor आया था. तो
Hmm.
I'm seeing in the futures वाला section उसका कि there was a long मतलब काफी short build up हो रहा था and काफी open interest suddenly increase हुआ था उसका और बढ़ रहा है मतलब जैसे जैसे बढ़ रहा
So
है.
in 1999, when I finished my MBA and I joined the trading desk, one of the first rules I was told to follow is, अगर रिजल्ट है कोई पोजीशन घर मत लेके जाना. मिल गया जवाब. 90% ऑफ द पीपल वांट टू मेक बिग मनी ऑन रिजल्ट डे. जस्ट फॉरगेट इट. ना, वो ख्वाब छोड़ दो. हो गया प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व.
Got it, got it.
Just 2 days ago, we had an open position in IRDA. We closed it yesterday. Now it went up, but it actually didn't go up in future. You know why? Because there was a dividend expectation, I think. Like I couldn't think of any other logic. So the stock closed up 4%, but the futures are flat and the options are down. And that's usually caused by dividends. So when dividends come in, stock futures go into discount. Okay. And then the result is going to be announced today. It was supposed to be Friday. Now the company is saying Sunday. So ab Sunday ka Monday ko pata chalega. In any case, on Thursday, we closed the trade. Because anyway, we were up 1.5%, 2% from the entry price. Now the greed would hold us कि नहीं, result अच्छा आएगा तो ऊपर जाएगा. But the thumb rule says that get out.
And sir, the MSCI rejig thing, this I noticed कि the last 30 minutes में एकदम sharp sell off आया. So is that like a very temporary thing since आप काफी
It
time से?
should be temporary. I have not seen such a big move on MSCI before, but we have seen moves of 100, 150 points, 200 points that got related to MSCI rebalancing. This was probably the biggest one so far in terms of impact. So that's why it's created nervousness. But rebalancings should be just rebalancings only. They should be one-day events.
Understood.
Okay. I think, sir, we have taken a lot of questions. There are a couple of questions I can see, but can we take a few more, sir? If is it okay? Because I can see people are still messaging me that please take our question, please take our question. I can see only three hands are there at the end.
So three then.
Yes.
Last three.
Okay. Okay, sir. Okay. So Akash ji, I can see you have raised your hand. If you could please ask your question.
हाय सर, गुड मॉर्निंग।
गुड मॉर्निंग।
सर मुझे आरएमआई के बारे में कंफ्यूजन था कि जैसे सर आरएमआई में जब सेल सिग्नल आता है तो आपने बताया था कि जब वो बाई की साइकिल कंप्लीट होगी पूरी, वो जीरो लाइन के नीचे क्लोज होगा, तब हमें ट्रेड एग्जीक्यूट करना है। तो सेल सिग्नल तो सर कभी कभी बहुत सारे टाइम जीरो लाइन के ऊपर आ जाता है, तो हमें ट्रेड एग्जीक्यूट कब करना है? वो क्लोज हो जाए जीरो लाइन के नीचे या पहले ही?
नहीं, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल यू हैव टू टेक अ डिसीजन कि बाय करना है कि सेल करना है। सो दैट इज अ हायर टाइम फ्रेम डिसीजन ना, कि अगर हायर टाइम फ्रेम पे बाय है तो मैं हर बार बाय ही करना है, हायर टाइम फ्रेम पे सेल है तो मुझे हर बार सेल ही करना है, राइट? दिस इज द डिसीजन यू हैव टू टेक। सो देन यू टॉक अबाउट कि सेल जीरो के ऊपर है कि बाय नीचे है, दैट इज अ सेकेंड पार्ट। विच पार्ट इज कंफ्यूजिंग? हेलो?
Okay, I think we can move towards the next question. So it has muted himself. Okay. Atul ji, I can see you have raised your hand. If you could please ask your question.
गुड मॉर्निंग रोहित सर।
गुड मॉर्निंग।
रोहित सर, वैसे मैं बाय कोर बिजनेस ट्रेडर नहीं हूँ, इन्वेस्टर हूँ, बट सिंस लास्ट 5 इयर्स मैंने ये टेक्निकल एनालिसिस को एज एन हेजिंग टूल यूज करना चालू किया है, सो दैट आई कैन कीप माय प्रॉफिट लिटिल बिट सिक्योर्ड। मैं आपके स्ट्राइक में तो ऑलरेडी सब्सक्राइब हूँ, तो मेरा स्पेसिफिक क्वेश्चन है कि क्या मुझे इंडिया चार्ट में भी होना जरूरी है या स्ट्राइक विल डू द वर्क फॉर मी? मेरा एज सच कोई इन डेप्थ ट्रेडिंग नहीं है।
So see, the research product in India Charts Insiders, it's not just for traders. I give most of in fact intraday तो मैं करता ही नहीं हूँ, तो छोड़ ही दो। The recommendations in stocks over there are distributed across three things. One is positional trades, which are up to a month. Second is what we call as momentum investing, which can be several months. And the last one is what we call as value wave investing, which is for several years. So we do address all kinds of time frames. And value wave, I try to understand the technical and valuation setups, and we try to take a call on where long-term cycles are there, and we can actually participate with a 3-year, 5-year perspective for hopefully getting those multi-bagger kind of returns. So the idea is to try and find somewhere where there is hidden opportunity from an early stage of the cycle. So we do address the investor. Even though in sessions like this, this session is more on trading because that is the call for action from more people. But we will have some sessions on investing as well in future. So, and Strike helps you in everything. Strike has data which is fundamental, technical, derivative. जो आपको देखना है, आपको फंडामेंटल्स ट्रैक करनी, कंपनियों की हिस्टोरिकल वैल्यूएशंस देखने, उनके नंबर्स देखने, वो सब आ जाएंगे। और कुछ हमारे स्कैनर्स भी लॉन्च होंगे अगले महीने में, वेयर यू कैन स्कैन स्टॉक्स बेस्ड ऑन डिफरेंट क्राइटेरिया ऑल्सो, and so all of that is oriented towards the investor. So if you're doing research on your own, then Strike will help you doing research on stocks.
Yes, so Strike will serve my purpose. I have already subscribed Strike, so
Yeah.
at present no need to go for India chart along with.
Yeah, if you're not looking for any one analysis recommendation, then you don't need it.
Yeah, I don't know that I
Yeah.
do personally by some personal
Research.
research. Yes.
Sure.
So this is fine, no? And
Sufficient.
one answer was already subjected when you are coming on iOS. If there is any
So the mobile app is still being developed. It's in progress. It's in very late stages. The testing is going on. So I hope it's launched in June finally.
That will be launched for iOS as well, Android both?
Yes, on both.
Fine. That's good. Right, sir. Thanks a lot.
Yeah,
It was a very
thank you.
nice webinar.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Krishna Maheshwari ji, I think the last question, please, if you could ask your question. Okay, I think he has left or he's not able to unmute and ask his question. I think this was it, sir. I think we have taken mostly all the questions today. Thank you so much, sir, for such an insightful session. I think सभी ने enjoy किया है, सभी ने अपने सवाल भी पूछे हैं. And thank you so much, sir, for taking out your time on a Sunday and taking us through all the insiders I see and with strike as well. Thank you so much, sir.
Pleasure, and thank
We
you.
would like to appraise you too, because I am regularly listening your 11:20 program, and with I forget the name.
Dhiren.
Yes, Dhiren, you're doing a great work.
That's for you, Sakshi. You're muted.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. We'll continue to do that as well. Make sure that you attend it tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. But right now, I think, sir, we have summed up everything.
Akash is probably come back online.
Okay. Okay, Akash ji, अगर आप आपका सवाल पूछ सके, we'll stick to one question right now, please.
Yeah.
जी सर, मैं ये बोल रहा था सर, जैसे वीकली में आरएमआई बाय है, तो हमारा व्यू तो बाय साइड है, लेकिन डेली में जब हम सेल सिग्नल आएगा तो हमें एग्जीक्यूट सेल सिग्नल कब करना है निफ्टी में?
हाँ, सी एक तो ये हमने पैटर्न देखा कि डेली में बाय है और बाय सेल आ रहा है, तो बाय बाय करेंगे, एग्जिट करेंगे. आपने पूछा एग्जिट कब करेंगे, तो उसका मैंने जवाब ये पहले वाले स्लाइड में दिया था कि यूज इट अलोंग विद अ इंडिकेटर. अगर कभी कभी क्लीन इंडिकेशन आता है, जैसे कि यहाँ मैंने एक लाल मूविंग एवरेज डाला है, तो मूविंग एवरेज या ट्रेंड लाइन और ये सेल दोनों हो जाएंगे ना, वहां पे आप एग्जिट लेंगे. सेम वे हियर ऑल्सो, यहाँ पे ये भी टूटा और ये भी सेल में आया, यहाँ पे आप एग्जिट लेंगे. नॉट हियर बट हियर. सो कंफर्मेशन मिल जाता है, एक प्राइस और मोमेंटम इंडिकेटर दोनों जब कंफर्म करते हैं, दैट इज व्हेन यू विल डू द एग्जिट.
यस सर. और सर इसमें सेल ट्रेड हमें लेना ही नहीं है, जो सिग्नल आएंगे उसके बाद, जो बिलो जीरो
जब वीकली सेल में होगा तभी आप सेल ट्रेड लोगे ना,
तभी जाएंगे हम. ओके ओके, थैंक यू सर.
या
Okay. Thank you so much,
Done.
sir. Yes, we are done for the day. Thank you so much for taking out your time and addressing this session.
Thank you everyone, and pleasure is mine.
Okay. At the end, if anyone has, I can see still a lot of questions are coming in about the subscription. So anyone who has any questions about the subscription, I'll wait back and I'll share my screen for the last time, so that if you want to scan the QR code, you can do that right now. And there is a link in the chat box as well. So maybe if you're watching it through your phone, then आप directly उस link पे click करके आगे बढ़ सकते हैं with the payment as well. Here you get 6 months India charts plus 6 months strike for 9,999. And if you go for a yearly subscription, the advisable one, it has 1 year strike plus 1 year's India charts for 19,999 as well. I could see that there were a lot of comments about how do you get RMI on TradingView. Then we can do one thing. If you could just share your number, your mail ID and your name in the chat box directly to me, then we'll make sure that we give you a whole thing that the support team will also contact you and explain how you can go about it as well. So make sure that आप मुझे आपका नाम, number and आपका mail ID share कर दे if you want to get the access of RMI on your trading view as well. So all the questions, I'm still going to wait back for a few minutes. You can start putting it into the comment section as well. Okay, I'll stop my screen share and I'll wait back. And thank you everyone for joining with us, taking out your time on Sunday morning and joining with us. If you were unable to watch the webinar from the start, or if you joined somewhere in between, the webinar is going to be live and it's going to stay on India Charts YouTube as well as Strike YouTube channel as well. So if you want, you can go there and watch it afterwards as well. So make sure that if you have missed anything, you can surely go there and watch. Thank you so much. I'll be waiting in the meeting. But if you have any questions, you can start putting it into my chat box as well. Thank you, everyone.